And we are live. What's good, y'all? It's your man, DL Saint. Welcome to the DL Saint I Really Want to Know podcast, man. How y'all feeling out there? What's good? Shit, man. I think it's shoots. Gotta say shoot because YouTube don't like the bad words. I think it is hump day. It's Wednesday, y'all. Yeah, man, it's Wednesday, so it's all good in the hood. We got a good one for y'all today, man. We got Brother Taroos over here, and you know, I met this brother on Black Man Unfiltered's network, man. Make sure y'all go over there and check out what Black Man Unfiltered has going on his network. Tonight they have unapologetic with Mandrell and Shushu, one of my favorites over there. And that's tonight. I mean, he has different shows for every night of the week. Go check out Black Man Unfiltered. Go check him out over there. Check out Suzette Speaks. That's the Suzette was the first person who ever put me on this platform, on a platform. She put me on her show almost 9 months ago now, probably over a year ago. And that's what kind of got me into the flow, got my feet wet with her. So please go ahead and subscribe over there. Suzette Speaks. Also Melanie King, y'all. Melanie King is back from hiatus. She is back, man. She is well doing her thing. And she's back into her rotation. I was on her show last night. We had a good conversation, man. It's good to see the sisters doing good. We're both in the same part of the world. And so for you guys who maybe came over, who saw me over there, or maybe vice versa, if you guys have seen what she's done, haven't seen her, go check out her platform, man. If you really want to see Sympathy Mint Simp over there doing this thing, trying to holler at a beautiful woman and just want to laugh at it, bro, I'm telling you, bro, it's sad to watch, bro. It's sad. But she does her best to help these guys out. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there in the world, in the manosphere, in the real world, in the manosphere, in the real pill world, whatever. They really just looking for help. They're looking for answers. You know, men are looking for, you know, seeking out relationships with women, and they're having a hard time, and women are doing what they're doing. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. Red Pill 1-on-1 with Brother Taroos is going to be a good one, y'all. Who did I forget? Also, go out there and check out Entrepreneurs in Cars, Unplugged Alpha, Rich Cooper out there, man. Make sure y'all check him out. Rich Cooper did a clip with me on there, and he got like 62,000 views talking to me about why men are weak. And for those of you who came over from that, you know what I mean, welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. Appreciate y'all rocking with me, giving me an opportunity. I really do appreciate that. I mean, my subscriber count went up well over 100 after that went out. And I don't think I'm forgetting anybody, man. Those are the people I rock with. Black Man Unfiltered, Suzette Speaks, Melanie King, Rich Cooper, What We Know Podcast, Brother Rob, you know what I mean, Brother JT. Make sure y'all go over there and support them as well. They are going to be here. Red Lipstick Vibes. Yo, I'm trying to catch your show, love. I'm trying to catch your show. I see you in the chat. What's up? Thank you for being here. I'm honored. And let's, quick shout out to the chat. Who's up in here? You know, we got Brother Michael up in the house. Always rocking it out with me, keeping me up to apprised on what's going on. King Richards is both. Yeah, appreciate that, bro. Thank you for dropping back and forth. Tell Brother King I said what's up. We're still working on getting that interview with him. He said he's interested. We just got to work out the times. And there she is, Red Lipstick Vibes. What's good, love? Good to see you. Brother Smeebles is in the house as well, all the way from down under. Wants to know what I deleted. I put something in the chat and I deleted it. He wants to know what it is. Maybe I tell you, maybe I won't. You know what I mean? But Primal Studies is also in the house. What's good, fam? Good to see you. Glad you made it. You know what I mean? Glad you guys made it. We're going to have a good talk, man. We're going to be talking about red pill stuff, man. We got the perfect person to talk about it. Brother Taroos, he may claim a lot of things, but he does not claim red pill. He might at the end of this episode, though. You know what I mean? He just might. You know what I'm saying? Y'all about to get hit with the beige attack. You know what I mean? We the black and tan. That shit calls the black and tan combo, man. It is what it is, man. Without further ado, here he is. You know what I mean? Let's give it up for Brother Taroos. What's good, man? What's good?
Hey, what's good, man? Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me again.
Come on, man. You know I love having you over here, man. This is gonna be a really good conversation. For those of y'all who want to jump in on this conversation, give Brother Taroos and I about an hour to chop it up good, and then we'll drop the link probably around, after about an hour or so. Yeah, man, we want to talk about some red pill stuff, bro. I know you got a lot of questions, concerns, comments. You know what I mean? I just know from the other platforms we've been on, and we never really get an opportunity to really hash this out one-on-one. And I think that's really needed because you have some valid questions, and I think I may have some of those answers for you, but we always get lost in the mix when we're on other platforms because there's just so many people. So here's an opportunity for you and I to just sit down and have a conversation, mano, you know what I mean? Soldier's a soldier, paratrooper the leg, however you want to look at it. What? Don't be mad at me because you didn't go to airborne school, bro. I'm just saying, I know you want the flag. I
I like the ground.
So let's get into it. Go ahead.
Before we start, I would like to amend, because you have taught me a lot since we've been chopping it up. So I'd like to amend some of my red pill comment statements.
Okay.
As you know, I already said the red pill is necessary. All right. I am going to be a lot more charitable with the red pill community. I still firmly believe that most of the red pill community or the guys are getting the wrong information or grifter information. But I'm going to be a lot more charitable because red pill guys are still guys who are trying to do something, trying to figure it out. You know how hostile I am to passport bros, but even then, they're willing to do something to try to change their luck. Unfortunately, I think the red pill community is smaller because what's actually growing is the black pill community. Though it's getting bad. And so I'm going to be more charitable because these are the guys that I told you before I want to try to reach out to. They were just trying to figure it out.
All right, that's what's up, man. That's cool, and that's respectable because I can tell you've been going out there trying to gather information. It sounds like you've been out there on some recon work to see what exactly is going on. Yeah. Because I mentioned that to you. We were talking about red pill stuff. I'm like, well, it depends on how you look at that term, red pill. Who are you including in that term? You're right about these black pill guys, these gloom and doomers, the basement dwellers, the victims, right? Those guys are out there, right? And don't get them confused with the MGTOW movement, with the guys, the men going their own way. Don't get them confused with the black pillars, because that's yet another group of guys that we could get into as well. We could talk about that as well. So we're gonna start out with red pill. Like, what is red pill? What does red pill mean to you? I'm just looking at my notes. Do you see it as a good or a bad thing? You've already kind of answered that.
Yeah,
right?
I believe it's necessary. I think right now it's bad, but it can be reversed. It can be changed.
Let's talk about why it's bad.
So the reason why things are bad is the same reason why everything that first starts out is bad, right? The Wild West was called the Wild West for a reason, right? It was a shit show. Social media, when it first dropped, it was a shit show. Literally, this country, when it first became a country, was a shit show. And so the red pill community is definitely relatively new. I know you've explained to me before that it definitely evolved from the players on the videos and stuff like that. It's kind of evolved into something today, but it's still in its beginning stages. And because it's in its beginning stages, you have so many people who take advantage of the fact that there's people, new people out here. They don't know anything. There's vulnerable men. There's always, just like Billy the Kid in the Wild West. The guys, they take advantage of people's limited information.
Okay. But the overall concept of red pill, it sounds like you're on board with it. Like there's definitely a need, and the information that's getting out there maybe is from bad sources or is being misused. But you would agree that the information is getting out there to men who are trying to better themselves is definitely a good thing that they have this resource, the manosphere, the red pill world. Okay. And brother Michael with the $1.99 super sticker. I mean, thank you, bro. Appreciate that, man. Thank you, bro. We're working on upgrades to the platform. I think I'm gonna have to start doing what brother Black Man does, man, and like play videos or something when I get a super chat or something like that, or a super sticker. I'm working on that. But for now, we just give you the horn. I really appreciate that, man. I will make sure that your dollar goes directly to the hookers and cocaine fund. Don't worry, it's gonna go to get used. So I appreciate that. Sister Candace is in the house. What's good, love? Welcome.
Hey, Candace, I still got my Christmas tree up, by the way, just because you posted last.
In here trying to cause it up. Sister Candace, we did that. We did the Biden documents, the Biden papers episode yesterday. I was looking for you. Probably was busy. I missed you. We'll do it. We'll figure out another topic that you want us to talk about, and we'll definitely do it in the future. But the show was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. Brother Taroos did join. He joined us on that as well. Brother Hayaka's in the house. What's good, fam? How you feeling? Good to see you, bro. You know what I mean? Good to see you. And Sister Candace is like, L's in the chat for Brother Taroos in the tree. L's in the chat for real. Yeah, let me go ahead. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real though, bro. You can't have the Christmas tree up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing?
Bro, because I got you know, you gotta put the tree down and put it back in the garage, and I gotta move the shit, and I'm lazy as fuck. So lazy as F. So
yeah, like we trying to clean it up. You know what I mean? I'm trying to see what this monetization does. They don't like you cursing, so I'm trying to look at it and see what I can get away with. Thanks for being aware. Sister Candace, man, I got carried away shopping at Sam's Club. Sorry I missed the show. It's all good, love. There'll be another one. Brother Smeeble's coming through with with the thunder from down under. Thanks, bro. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much, Brother Smeebles, man. You have no idea how much every penny counts, man. And I'm looking at new cameras to do some upgrades and the other things that we're doing, man. For real, thank you, brother. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it. Hurry up and get your ass to America, man. You know what I'm saying? I know you don't drink, but I'll get you a smoothie or something. You know, feel me? We got to get together and talk, break bread.
He just donated his winnings from that drift competition he was probably in, man. Shout out to
we was out there drifting. Yeah, he's drifting. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. So I tell you what, you know what I mean? Looks like the sponsor of this episode is definitely Brother Smeebles. You know what I mean? I appreciate that, bro. I really do. But let's get into this, man. So the red pill stuff. Like, so when you first heard the term red pill, when you first came over here, bro, what was it in your mind? What were you thinking?
Thinking back on it, I was really thinking incorrectly. I conflated it with black pill. I thought it was one and the same.
Okay.
Or you know, when I first came in here, I was really green. I mean, I'm still kind of green, but when I first heard the red pill, I understood the concept, but the way it was, I guess, appropriated, I was like, oh, great. Now I have a way better understanding of what red pill in this concept in this community means.
And we agreed that it's a good thing. So when you see and hear red pill content and this what's going on, do you see the red pill guys or the guys that are out here trying to teach men how to be womanizers, teach dudes how to be players, teach dudes how to be manipulators, or do you see them just simply trying to pass on information that's been overlooked by most men?
Unfortunately, the answer is all of the above. What sucks is there's way too many people with bad intentions and just trying to take advantage of people. There's a lot of good people out here who's, hey, you're providing a service and trying to make the community better at the same time. And then there's everything in between. I think the issue is that when you look at some of the content that, for example, the Fresh and Fit, them guys, once again, I'm going to be a lot more charitable because I told you before, I'm more of the resume guy, the character. I look at the Fresh and Fit, I'm like, okay, I just might disagree with their message, but as far as how they operate, that's cool. It's fine. I wish their content, when they're actually teaching these guys and actually giving them some sort of outline, I wish those were the things that went viral. What pisses me off is that the things that go viral and that get everybody hot are unfortunately the black pill, borderline red pill guys who make those virals. They're the ones who share those videos and then they pop off. You know what I mean? Like the YouTube where there's like such and such owns feminists or whatever. Those are like these black pill guys pushing out those videos that then go viral and get clipped. And so I've had to learn that wasn't Fresh and Fit in some of these guys that posted that.
All right. And I would say that those dudes aren't even necessarily black pillars. I think those dudes are just opportunists and they know that they can, get the viral clicks and get all that. Sister Candace is in the house, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Y'all, for real though, I can't thank y'all enough, man. Like I said, I got something for all my day ones, and everybody's watching this now. It's pretty much my day ones. I'm working on the merch, And trust me, when it's done, you're gonna love it. Y'all are getting it, and y'all ain't gotta pay a dime. This is just something for me to you because y'all been rocking with me from the beginning. We want to get it established now who the day ones are. And when you wear the merch, y'all merch and y'all merch only is going to say day one on it. No one else is gonna be able to get it unless they get it from you, because I'm only gonna have it for y'all. Keep that in mind. We got brother Jason in the house. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of day ones, you know what I mean? And brother Hayoka, you know what I mean? Everybody's giving Sister Candace her due. Thank y'all so much, man. I know y'all work hard for y'all bread, and to donate that to me. I just have no words, man. I really thank y'all so much. That's all I could do, and that's gonna keep me going. It's gonna keep us pushing. You know what I mean? So when we're talking about these opportunities and stuff like that, I would agree with you. So like, and you're talking about Fresh and Fit. Like in the Fresh and Fit, I think you notice that they have the two shows that they do. They'll do an early show and then they'll do like the late night show. And the early show is them talking about maybe building up your finances, building up your body, staying in shape, eating right, becoming the best person you can possibly be, the best man you can possibly be, and all this stuff. But then the nighttime shows is where the money is made. Like that is where the madness jumps off. And it's just basically letting people see and hear how some young women are thinking, how they're moving in the dating, in the dating marketplace and stuff like that. That's why you hear like, well, I only mess with men who make $300,000 a year or more. And then how many men do you think make that kind of money? It's like, oh no, like make 50% of men, like 60% of men, they make that much money. It's like, what? Please. So it's like those are like those are the men y'all mess with. Y'all smashing the same dudes. Same thing with Rich Cooper. Same thing with Better Bachelor when you're talking about Joker. Same thing with Rollo Tomasi. Same thing with Michael Shertan, and even now with Patrick Bet-David on Valuetainment over there with Adam Sosnick. You see the same thing, but then you got the Andrew Tates of the world. Now, here's the thing. I know this is going to be a tough one. You know what I mean? But because you know my take on the Tate brothers. I look at them, I see the good that they're doing, and I see what they're doing to build up men and try to, let guys know it's okay to be masculine. But I also see the other things that are going on with their issues and what they have going on right now. And it looks like possibly a coordinated attack, or maybe they actually did some things. I'm waiting to see more evidence. Right now, I'm thinking, nah, he's not guilty of the majority of things. Him and his brother not guilty of the majority of things that they're accusing him of. But the attack stuff and the links to organized crime stuff, that worries me. So what's your take on Tate? And I just want to know two things, really. Have you heard his message, his red pill message, when he's talking about relationships and how you should treat your woman, and how, this and that, and actually see him interact with women versus all of the stuff that's been clipped? What's your take on those two things?
So I told you this before, what I do is I definitely try to watch the full videos. I don't like watching clips. It takes out of context, even though obviously sometimes you're just going to go in with a bias anyway. I do go, okay, where's the full video of the clip? Right. And then where's the other full videos? And after watching plenty of Andrew Tate videos, I just come away even more pissed off at him than I typically do. Because my thing is this. You know what's crazy, DL? If Andrew Tate didn't exist, or he acted like a Fresh and Fit, I probably wouldn't be here. I probably wouldn't have gotten motivated to be like, hey, these guys are getting the wrong information right now. Because when I look at Andrew Tate, I have to look at him based on what he's saying, character or not, or whether he's playing a role or not. I got to look at what he's saying, how he's saying it, and then how is he operating on his day-to-day behind the scenes. And when I pair those two things together, it is hot garbage. Because one of the issues that I'm seeing is you got a lot of these young men looking up to the Andrew Tates of the world, but they can't even practice what they preach. Right? At least, and again, I'll probably never meet these guys. But the reason why I'm charitable to the Fresh and Fit is because, again, I watch their full videos. I see how they operate. Okay. Right. I might not agree with how they move as far as the red pill comments, but okay. But Andrew Tate, no, because the way Andrew Tate talks to these men, these guys are going to get arrested just like him. At least if you
Okay.
listen to the Fresh and Fit, you're not going to get caught up in any illegal schemes. But you listen to Andrew Tate, man, you just it's a disaster waiting to happen.
Okay. Now we need to hear an example of what you mean by, okay, what particular advice are you talking about if you follow the Andrew Tate says that will get you in trouble?
So the biggest thing, and I like to use these two because the Fresh and Fit, I know they're a combo, but as far as the platform, these are the two biggest platforms of the red pill, or at least in the mainstream. And so one of the things that I always notice with Fresh and Fit is that they don't teach these guys to be materialistic. Andrew Tate teaches men to chase that fast money and chase that fast lifestyle and chase material things. And for example, right? Never mind the fact that he got triggered and he felt so small and insecure that he needed to respond to some 19-year-old girl on Twitter. But when you're talking about things like Bugattis and specifics, right? It's a contradiction because in his message, when he's trying to talk to these guys, he's trying to talk to these guys and give them information based on, okay, how do I actually attract and keep a woman? But then he doesn't do any of that himself. You see what I mean? Like, you're over here trying to tell guys how to at least get and stay in a committed relationship. Meanwhile, look at the crap that you're doing behind the scenes. You're not doing any of that.
Okay, I can see that. Sister Linda Ballard, 911 Health, $100 super chat. Thank you so much. Showing love to the Guardian. So proud of you. Passing through the neighborhood. Do what you do. Much love to you. Salute to you, my dear. Thank you so much.
What's your opinion on how he operates?
We're about to get into it. That's why I wanted you to say that. We're about to get into it. Sister Linda, thank you so much. I truly, truly appreciate that. I really do. So listen.
Damn, bro.
Man, showing love, man. So listen. I'm not going to sit here and say that everyone's perfect, and certainly by no means in the red pill is everyone perfect. I can't sit here and defend what you just said about Andrew Tate. When you start, we're talking about Hustlers University. There's a lot of information in there in Hustlers University that has helped dudes. They're paying $50 a month or $60 a month, whatever it is, and they're actually within 90 days they're actually making money. They're making money off of their investment if they do the work. There's nothing in Hustlers University that you can't find on your own. But people want cheat codes. They don't want to do the work. So they go in there and they're able to make their money back. The War Room, $4,000 maybe $5,000 a year to be in the War Room, and it is like a network for those guys who take advantage of it. Apparently, it's a massive network that is effective anywhere on planet Earth. This is what I'm being told. I'm not a part of either. I'm not a part of Hustlers University. I'm not a part of the War Room, but I know people who are in the War Room. I look at Tate. There's the Andrew Tate that you see on camera, and there's the Andrew Tate that's out there when the camera's off. So there's Cobra Tate, Top G, on camera, off camera. There's Andrew Emery Tate, and I've met both. You feel me? Like, I've seen both out in live in color, right there, standing there. Do I hear some stuff out there that's kind of crazy? It's off-putting. It's like kind of left field. Yes, I do. And when I look at that, I'm like, well, is he in character? He's being Cobra Tate, or does he really think people believe that he should be doing this stuff? Now, you're saying, and what you're saying is valid. There are people out there who teach one thing, but they do something completely opposite, and they know the difference, but the people listening to them may not know the difference, and I can get these people hurt. Am I hearing you correctly when you say that? Okay.
Yes.
Valid point. It's a valid point. But when I look at Tate, I'm looking at what he's doing. Again, you take the meat and you spit out the bones. And I think there's a lot of good information out there for guys. Like, become the best version of yourself. Work out, become healthy. Go out there and work. right? Like you shouldn't even be focused on women. You should be out here making money because women don't want to deal with broke guys. You're a brokey. Don't be a brokey. You know what I mean? Do every man need to have a Bugatti? Maybe not. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to get a Bugatti. You know what I mean? But I drive a nice vehicle. You drive a nice vehicle. We always looking for better vehicles, right? But there's some guy out there who's like, I got to work hard so I can get me a Bugatti like the top G. Right? He said, like, sometimes when he's telling stories, he gets creative with his stories. He'll be talking about a woman and he'll be like, bitch, da-da-da. It's for laughs. It's Cobra Tate.
And the thing with Andrew Tate, and I'll be trying to be charitable here, that's the typical locker room talk. When you see him on the videos and things like that. My thing is this. Those are two different ways you move. Like if I'm over here telling guys to just chase the bag, I'm not about to give you any information with trying to attract women, because if you're trying to chase the bag, you don't have the time anyway, right? If that just, first off, like I tried to tell guys not to chase women, like that's just supposed to come organically. Like, yo, you out and about, you see a nice looking girl, okay, talk to her. You're not supposed to wake up in the morning going, hey, I'm gonna go try to fucking talk to X, Y, and Z or whatever, right? And so there's two different, there's a different style of like a cadence, if you will. If you're just trying to just better yourself as a man, you're trying to chase the bag, or you're actually trying to make yourself valuable from the relationship standpoint. Andrew Tate far too often tries to conflate the two. He doesn't practice any of them. So
well, see, that's the part right there. I mean, do we know that?
Well, if you listen to Fresh and Fit, you don't, at least at the very minimum, you don't have to worry about getting arrested for sex trafficking in a foreign country.
And again, I mean, of course, that's going to come up. Go ahead, continue.
There's plenty. There's so many guys, including you, by the way. So I respect you so much, that aren't saying. You're saying, like, Andrew Tate's not saying anything unique, and that's the problem, because especially in America, everything's such about personality, right? Whether I like him or not. That's why Trump wasn't saying anything new. It was how he operated. There was a lot of conservative men who wanted to emulate that, who wanted to try to find a way to be like Trump without, basically skip the process, the cheat code, like you will, right? Okay. And so there's a lot of young men looking at Andrew Tate like, yo, I want that, never mind the whole Romanian shit. They're looking at Andrew Tate going, man, I want to try to get the end result of Andrew Tate. Well, guys, part of the process, or part of the cheat code that you're trying to skip over, is the fact that he got rich out of desperation because he owed the mob money. Right? Okay. Is that a situation?
Now I gotta jump in. Now I gotta jump in. Now I'm gonna jump in on this one, right?
Yeah.
Yes, what you're saying is what Andrew Tate said. He owed people money, people he knew he had to pay back, people you don't want to mess up on. He didn't quite have the cash when he needed it, and he had to figure out how to get the money. This is all from Andrew Tate. And this is what me and you go back and forth. The fact that he owed the mob money doesn't mean anything to me. I'd rather owe the mob than owe these payday lenders. The payday lenders will destroy your life. The mob might just break your knee. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean, for sure. But I mean, you're also, again, you're not gonna. Here's a perfect analogy. It's like how we talk about hip hop today, right? Hip hop was supposed to be a story of the come up of how a lot of these guys came up, and as a way to be like, hey, don't repeat the same steps I did. Here's the better way to do it. Instead, now what do you have? You got people literally glorifying the lifestyle. And DL, I mean, you talked about already. You come from a rough background, but the point for you wasn't to stay in that background. It was to get the hell up out of it. Andrew Tate is telling these guys to stay up in it. You know what I mean? That's the problem with me.
I think like I might lose.
You're supposed to upgrade, not,
I might lose this phase of the debate because I don't want to get lost in it right now. I want to move on to some other stuff. But my point is this: it doesn't matter who he owed the money to. The fact was he owed the money, and he figured out a way to get the bread, which led to him figuring out the whole cam girl business, right?
But
and a lot of people say again,
got out. See, that's the thing. I'm sorry to cut you off, but you got out. My thing is, when you look at, and this is why I told you last time, if there's a conspiracy, let's say that Andrew Tate is innocent, right? You know what I told you what the real conspiracy is. He's in Romania. So there was mobsters who are tied to the Romanian government who was probably trying to get him because Andrew and his brother was, probably had their hands up in somebody's business. They had any issues. And so that's a legitimate conspiracy. The whole Matrix thing, absolutely not. But that's the thing. It's not the fact that he paid off the mob, because now if you're just acting like a mafia boss in Romania, that means once you got involved, you never got out.
Well, and here's the thing too. Like, we don't know where that money came from. The money could have come from the Thai mob. It could have come from, it could have come from the American mob. It could have come from anywhere. We don't know because he owed the money while he was living in Great Britain. The money could have came from anywhere. And I get it. Like, I get it. But it's just to tie to your point about what's going on in Romania. I'm not saying you're wrong. I actually agree with it. Like, this is not America. This is not Great Britain. I think that's more localized. I think the people realize that we got a shot at the Tate brothers. We got them both in Romania. Let's execute this and let's get it done. I think someone's sending him a message. I really do. You know what I mean? But again, I don't want to fall all the way down the hole. But I do want to. Would you agree with this? That there is some good in the brother Tate's message, some of his messaging. There is some good in it for men and women. Could you concede that point? Go ahead.
Yes.
And I thank you. Thank you. And I want to pull up some stuff because we're always talking about what he says to men. But have you been paying attention to what he says about women? And before we get there, we got Brother Jason. I got you, brother. $5 super chat. Get some. There you go, baby. Get some. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Get some.
I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Get some.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. And we've had Brother Jason on here. He's actually a really sharp guy, real savvy guy, man, into credit repair and stuff like that, man. I can't wait to get you back on. You know what I mean? He's out there really doing big things. So I got something I want to pull up. This is from Fresh and Fit. And Andrew Tate was on Fresh and Fit. And this is how I discovered Andrew Tate was on Fresh and Fit platform. Not this episode we're about to watch, but I want us to check this out. And this was pretty good. And I want to, and guys, pay attention to what he's saying, because he's going to be talking about the male experience.
It told me like 80, 90%. You thought all of them were. What I'm trying to tell you is a very small percentage can actually attract and keep women around. There's a reason why guys like Dan Bilzerian, Hugh Hefner, etc., are widely respected by men. The reason why is because it is not easy to attract women. It's extremely difficult. And when I put you as a male, right, and you say, I give guys game. I put you in a male situation. How are you going to get the girl? You really couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Because you were thinking, okay, well, I'm going to leave with my wallet. I'm going to fly this girl out and her friends, and I'm not going to get finessed. And that's what's going to happen if you do that with a girl randomly from Instagram.
And that's not. And I'm going to jump. I don't want to look like I'm going to jump in. Myron's completely right, but that's not a bad thing, because you know what the hardest thing to do as a man is? It takes a lot of experience to learn the very, very fine line. You couldn't possibly know because you're a chick.
Yeah.
It's a very, very fine line to learn, right? Because I don't want to look cheap.
Of course.
I'm not cheap. I'm rich. It's even worse for me, right? Because I get, if I land in Dubai and I tag myself in Dubai,
Okay.
I check my inbox. It's full of chicks from Brazil, Moscow, Kiev. All these chicks trying to go to Dubai. So they start liking my pictures, etc.
Mm-hmm.
They want me to go, hey, I'll fly you out to Dubai. That's what they're hoping me to do. They're trying to finesse me, right? Because they know I got the money. Bro, you wouldn't believe it, right? And I know that's a very unusual experience for most men, but it happens to me. But I don't want to get finessed. They just want to get to Dubai in a hotel. They don't want me, right? Now, a lot of men are happy with that trade. A lot of men are the kind of guys who, I call them, in my world, I call them customers. A lot of dudes will pay that money just to have a chance of a date with a bitch.
Mm.
If you don't like me for who I am, I ain't flying you fucking
Correct.
nowhere. Fuck
Of
you.
course. Do you mind
So
if I
that's who I am. So I'm saying it's a very, very fine line, and it's super hard to navigate.
So even that right there, right? This is just one example of how Tate comes in, and he's giving hardcore facts and red pill truths, and very uncomfortable truths in some cases, to men and women. He's trying to explain to these young women, and they always got him pegged as, he's a misogynist, he hates women. I don't think so. And we heard the colorful language. He's on camera. He's Cobra Tate. I'm rich. You're doing all that. He reminds me a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of Donald Trump-esque in there. You know what I mean?
That's fine. The bravado's fine. Yeah.
The bravado's fine. And that, would you agree with that statement that he was making that, you got to be aware of the finesse. That's the thing.
Yes, but then again, this gets back to the practice what you preach, because you can't tell people, hey, you need to be aware of the finesse, and they get finessed, right? Because for everybody that watched this clip, I want everybody to understand the key words that were said here. Moscow. What was the other city he named?
Yeah, Moscow, Kiev, Brazil.
Yeah, Kiev.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Broke, struggling, broke. These are women, again, I do not blame women for trying to get out of these situations, but these are literally places the passport bros go to, because these women are in struggling economies and they literally looking at these dudes with the get me the F up out of here eyes. Right. So it's surprising he didn't say Frankfurt, Berlin, freaking New York City, Shanghai, Hong Kong. He didn't say any of those rich ass places. He said a whole bunch of places that was broke and known to be broke. And
hold on, let me jump in here for a hot second. We both can agree that no matter how wealthy the city is or the country is, right? You got finesses, top tier professional finesses in LA, sure. New York, DC, you know what I mean, London, you know what I mean, Tokyo.
For sure, but the cultural differences and the national differences and like how we operate, those are how people take advantage of that, both men and women. You get what I mean? And like, for example, when Myron was talking about, he mentioned, what's his name? Dan
Rosarian.
Yeah. I watched like a mini documentary. Those women that he hangs around with, those are paid influencers. Yeah, and so the guys
he pays he's a customer.
Well, see, that's the problem. The guys who listen, who watch, they don't know that. They don't know that these women, these influencers, they're paying them to be around. They think that, well, if I act like Dan or if I act like Andrew, I might have them around me just because. You see what I mean? That's the problem. Like it's not just the message, it's the content, it's the preaching that goes behind it.
You said it's the subliminal message behind it. You don't like the subliminal message behind it. You don't like that dark undertone that's being sent with the message.
I don't, because unlike this is, and maybe this is my fault, DL, but I just, in this red pill space, because this is a serious thing for me. Our male loneliness, that's a real thing. Suicide rates being up, that's a real thing, right? If you're going to be in a space where you're giving advice to men and vulnerable men looking for answers, your character matters. How you operate matters. Now you don't get to just call yourself a personality. You don't get to just say you're acting, because you're trying to present yourself as a genuine person giving out genuine information. So I can't treat you like you're just some reality TV guy. I got to treat you like you're trying to be an authentic person.
But can you be a genuine person with the negativity, the warts, the bad habits, the cigars and the women and all? Can you still be authentic and get that message out?
Yes, you absolutely can. And that's what I said, DL. There's plenty of people that these young men could listen to that do exactly that, except they're not going to get them arrested for sex trafficking in Romania. You get what I mean? There's so many.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the Tate brothers had never said start a video cam thing and do. They never said that. Like they were talking about how they did their own, and the reason they said that is because now it's OnlyFans. You can't compete with that. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna concede just a little bit because I want to move the conversation along. I'm gonna concede just a little bit. Actually, you know what? We're gonna put a pin in it, and we're gonna talk some more about this offline, and then we're gonna do another show because I want to come off the tapes for a moment because I see Andrew Tate as a net good, even with all of the bad stuff attached that he's going through now. I'm looking at the complete body of work that the 2 years that I've seen him, in the space. I think he's done a good thing for the men in the space who are looking for answers. Brother Smeeble says, and I highlighted this, and I want to read it real quick. Smeebles was saying a big thing Andrew Tate does really well is he actually pumps them up to actually get men to walk up to women. Where if they didn't get the Tate hype, they'd never do that. And it's basically he's giving them some he's letting them know it's okay to be confident. Go ahead and give it a shot. You're probably gonna get shot down. But and I do that when I talk to guys. That's one of the things I do when these guys have me coach. We do coaching sessions. I actually take them in the real world. I don't do Zoom calls. I don't talk about it in books. I don't talk theories. We meet it. When you pay me, we go out and we go into the real world. And I sit there with you and I listen to you and I watch your game. And then when a woman walks away, immediately I'm sitting there, I'm coaching you up. Right. And it's one of the things that I do is I'll just point to some women and like tell you, go talk to them. And they wouldn't do it if I weren't there. And that's kind of where Brothers Meet was at. Go over there and talk to them. You know what I mean? And then they come back and we'll go over it because I do see the need. Go ahead.
My response to you and Schmeebles then would be, why aren't men in your immediate area able to hype you up like Andrew Tate? What's special about Andrew Tate message that makes him more effective than any of us light-skinned bald guys on YouTube or anything?
He's
like that?
charismatic. He has a Bugatti. He flies around in private jets. He's smoking on the cigars. I mean, he's a kickboxing world champion. There's certain things.
I'm driving around in a BMW X5M and I'm still not getting arrested for sex trafficking in Romania. You know what I mean?
But that was the answer to why are they listening to this guy? Because he has all the bells and whistles. Brother Doug's in the house. What's good, fam?
Oh my God, DL. Doug be trolling me while I'm trying to play Call of Duty and shit, man.
That's what I'm talking about. You keep doing that, Brother Doug. That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. Don't give him no rest. None whatsoever. Sister Linda, again, thank you for that. Thank you for that support. Thank you for that love. I truly do appreciate you, love. She's like, anytime I support knowledge and positivity. Thank you for your objectivity. It's your time to shine. Thank you so much, love. I appreciate it. I am going to do my best, you know what I mean, to honor all of y'all. I see a lane in this red pill world, and I see that there's definitely a need. There are men out there who are truly suffering, and even you know, like Brother Taroos sees it, and we're simply trying to figure out how can we be effective? How can we be most effective? And let me put some words in your mouth, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think your biggest problem with Andrew Tate is he's too loud, and all that extra stuff is taken away from helping these men. Is that one of the things?
Yes. You know what? Yes. Yes. That's cool. Like we're not supposed to be operating that loud as men. I don't care what time period we are. And then again, if you're going to act like that, okay. But then, like DL, you know this. If you're actually trying to sustain a relationship, you can't act like an Andrew Tate. You get what I mean? Maybe you can do that initially, but at some point you got to grow up. You got to mature. Yeah. Guess what, man? Those women, you know. Let me tell you guys something about sports cars, and this is to back off on Andrew Tate and more general red pill content that men can take to the bank. If you're obsessed with vehicles, you can still be obsessed with exotic cars and get a four-door car. You know why a lot of women aren't going to like the Bugatti? Because there's no back seat. It's not four doors. It's uncomfortable to get into. So even if you're obsessed with materialism, go get you a Range Rover over a sports car and go see what happens.
I feel you. We got Miss Globe Girls in the house. My favorite sailors in the house. What's good, love? I'm glad you're here. And look at Doug like, DL, don't concede. I'm only conceding for now, guys. We got to move the conversation along. We'll talk 3 hours on Andrew Tate alone, and I want to get away from Andrew Tate because here's the thing: Andrew Tate's not red pill. He is not everything red pill. Rollo Tomasi is not everything red pill. Fresh, Myron, Donovan Sharp, Coach Greg Adams, they all make up the community. Not one is beholding like the mega Beetlejuice star. No, and everyone is.
Trump doesn't make up the entire Republican Party, but he's the face, right? Obama didn't make up the entire Democratic Party, but he was the face. There's 53 players on the roster. Dak Prescott is the face of the franchise. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
And you know what's crazy about that is no one can control who that is. Who's the face of America right now? Who is the face of America right now? Is it Joe Biden or is it Joe Rogan?
Oh, and that speaks to a lack of leadership overall that we got in this country.
But did you see what I mean about that?
Fact.
You know what I mean? So I mean, I hear you, Miss Globe Girl. Anyone who's on YouTube appearing to co-sign with Tate's BS should rethink. They may be part of the investigation next. The people who know Tate, they're standing 10 toes down with him, and it's not just the people they're not doing it for money. They're doing it. Here's the thing about Andrew Tate. I'm gonna say this, and then we got to move on because I want to talk about some other stuff. The thing about Andrew Tate is the man is extremely charismatic. He is
for sure.
very humble, and like in real life, like dude, I ain't gonna lie to you, I was blown away. I'm a good judge of character for the most part. That dude, I was like, all right, this cool. It's cool. Will set you at ease. You know what I mean? A very unique individual, right? Very easy to talk to. This is the kind of guy go anywhere by himself. He'll walk into stores by himself. You know what I mean? And it's like, all right. So when all this came out, I ain't gonna lie. And I only wanted to say this because to Miss Globe Girl's point, she's right. And my thing is this: I'm the type of dude, like, if I rock with you, I rock with you. If I'm a stick, I stick. And this is because of the way I came up. I know a lot of people. Right. And Brother Taroos, it brought this up. He was like, he started determining, well, if you associated with this and this, you do this, that, then that means you're bad. I'm like, well, that makes me a criminal, bro. Because I was like, I know so many people. Right? Yeah. Like, that makes, now I ain't even talking about the taste. I'm talking about real criminals. You know what I mean? Like, that right now, the jury is still out. You know what I mean? These dudes haven't been convicted of nothing. I'm talking about dudes that done got convicted, did their time, all that. I'm like, if that's the case, bro, I'm a criminal.
But,
you know what
like
I mean?
But like I said, like, obviously, life, 2% of life exists in black and white. 98% exist in the spectrum, in the middle. So even though my moral standard might be different from someone else's, guess what, bro? I don't care about people selling drugs. I don't care about, obviously, I care about the drive-bys. I care about gang violence. But there's certain crimes I just don't give a shit about. For me specifically, I do not tolerate anything when it comes to domestic, child, or sex abuse. That's just the limit. You get what I mean? Like, everything else, you know what? Is negotiable. Drug dealing at a young age, I don't give a shit. Come on, what? You know what I mean? Like, I'm Black Puerto Rican. I know exactly what, especially people who look like us, typically come from the neighborhoods we come up to. So that's fine. Again, my limit is domestic violence, child abuse, sex, human trafficking. That's just no. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my thing is all money ain't good money. And I understand that there are some very evil things going on this planet, and it is what it is. And there are some very wicked people to get away with it because they get papered up and they control the system. I get that. You know what I mean? And I accept it for what it is. But I'm with you, though. If I get my hands on somebody who does those things you're talking about, if I get my hands on somebody who's absolutely wicked, you know, things might happen. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm torn with Tate. You know what I mean? Because the guy, and here's the thing. I think the man is innocent, especially of the essay stuff and, you know, like the human trafficking and all. I believe he's innocent of all that. But the tax evasion and the ties to organized crime, might be a problem there. And if that's what they get him on, right?
So
if they
I don't think he raped the woman.
And remember, like they you know, yeah. Or yeah.
Dude,
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I don't think he did that to the woman.
Right.
I don't see that out of Tate. Again, I don't, and I want to be clear to the audience. As hard as it may believe, I do not want him to be guilty because I don't want it to be true that somebody's sex trafficking somebody. That's
right.
Horrible. That's just the things I do not want to be right about. It's just, again, when you do the analysis.
It is. And Brother Doug is right. I'm going to try to read. I've highlighted some chats, y'all, but I'm just kind of going through there. Brother Cody is King is in the house. What's good, Brother Cody, man? That's what's up, bro. Glad you're here. Hopefully YouTube want what did they do last time? They shadow banned him in my chat. It was YouTube shadow banned Cody while he was just in the chat. Yes.
What?
Damn, YouTube Cody, is that? I'm like, that's my dog from that. Once that happened, I'm like, that's my dog. That's my dog. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I gotta rock with that guy. But here's the thing. When it comes to all this, the thing with the tax, I'm with you on that. I don't want him. I don't think he did it. Again, the organized crime stuff and the tax stuff, yeah, that might be a problem. And if that is what they get them on, and they wind up getting convicted, or I don't know how the system works over there. I don't know if you can cop a deal. You know, I don't know how they do it over there. Over here we have pleas. Over there, I don't know how they do it. But if they wind up doing time for that, I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, it is what it is. Y'all gangster, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Do your time. You know what I mean? Whatever. It's not like they're gonna be in there for 25 years. You know what I'm saying? They pay you fine, pay $100 million, sit down for a few months or whatever it is, and then they gonna get out. You know what I mean? But I'm cool with that. To me, that's the equivalent to gangbangers meeting up and doing what they do.
Yeah, that's a white collar crime. Like if all they get, first off, I don't, just like I came on a black men's panel and said I was completely wrong about Tory Lanez being innocent. Yo, if all they get him for is tax evasion, I want to be clear to the audience. In Romania, yeah, all you got to do is cut the check, and he ain't doing any jail time for
right.
And guess what?
Time
I don't
served.
care.
Time served.
How many bankers do we got doing tax evasion right now in America? It's white collar crime. I don't care about that. Just as long as the sex trafficking aspect isn't true.
And that's a big thing, and I get that. And I mean, and therein lies a huge bias. Because I thought it was you just didn't like Tate. Nah, it's not. There are people out there who just don't like Tate. You don't like what he's accused of, and if it is true, and given the reason where it is and your personal experience in that part of the world, you can see it. Like, I can actually see this happening. All right, I get where you coming from with that, bro. I get where you coming from. But let's get back on mission. I mean, I wanted to talk about Tate just a little bit. We talked about him way more than I wanted to. There's gonna be plenty of time for us to come back and talk, because they ain't going nowhere. They sitting down. So we get back to that. But I wanted to talk about red pill numbers. The red pill numbers. Do you know what I mean by that?
Are we talking about like where some of the women claim they won, and if that's actually real, the numbers are realistic or not?
It's some
numbers.
of that, but I want to more to the point of divorce rates. You know what I mean? How family court works. You know, like 90% of the time, custody is awarded to women. I think it's 80% of the time, something like that. Custody is paid from man to woman and not the other way around. They want to talk about, 50% of marriages end in divorce. The latest, what was that? The bank numbers that came out when they were talking about by 2030.
2035, 40% of women will probably be single and childless, not or and. Jesus.
And childless from ages 18 to 38 or 40 or something like that. And that was the Morgan Stanley. Red pill numbers. When you talk about, and then of course, the hypergamy and how women date, that's part of it. You know what I mean? Women are more attracted to guys that are, 6 feet. They want guys 6 feet, 6 figures, 6-pack, all that. You know what I mean? So red pill numbers, like in America, 75% of America is either obese or overweight. 75%. It's like 25% of all Americans are fit. They'll fit into that category. Right. So, and it gets into, like, the red pill numbers is, I think that's what drives a lot of these dudes, because the black pillars, the doom and gloomers, I'll never be 6 feet. I'll never lose this weight. I don't have the proper chin line or cheekbones or all that other kind of stuff. Shout out to Wheat Waffles. That dude's, you talk about gloom and doomer. You know what I mean? He's just talking about the disparity. And then, of course, my favorite number, the 80-20 rule. And like that, you know what I mean? The majority of women
we had
are
a really
chasing
good
after
conversation about that, by the way. Yeah.
So let's get into that right now. Let's get into the 80-20 rule.
Right.
What is your take on the 80-20 rule?
So, like I told you before, and I'll state it again, I still don't believe in 80-20 as far as the guys go. I still think you can drop that to about 35, 65, you know what I mean? Or what is that? Yeah, 35, maybe 40%. But overall, that's the problem, because all this the statistics we agree on, that's the thing. And Heyoka's gonna love this. That's the part where I'm like, but that's not red pill statistics. Those are just real world statistics, right? And so, like, for example, this is what I be clowning a lot of the white conservatives that I argue with about, because they love the 13% commits 50% of the crimes or whatever.
The crime,
right?
Yeah.
Well,
Talking about us.
Yeah, and so the statistics are technically true, except guess what happens when you put the context in? Oh, wait. When you actually break that down, you're claiming that 13%, which is 100% the demographic of Black America, we're all criminals. We're all criminals.
Every last one of us.
All of us are criminals. When the reality is, yes, even though we disproportionately still have a high rate of crime, it's only about 30 to 32% of Black Americans that commit 50% of the crime. but that 35% ends up only being 4% of the total U.S. population. So saying 4% of the U.S. population that just happens to be Black Americans are responsible for 50% of the crime. That don't bite as hard as saying the 13%, does it?
Right.
You see what I mean?
And that's what you're after. You're after the sound bite. Now, here's the thing with red pill, and this is when I say RP numbers. When I say that, all I mean is just real numbers, true stats. I'll call them RP numbers, but they're true stats. Morgan Stanley came up with this, and Brother Hale could put it in there. 45% of women will be childless and single by 2030. That's the Morgan Stanley study. There are more studies to come, right? People, invest in Chewy. Y'all heard it on Fresh and Fit first. Myron and Fresh was like, invest in Chewy as a joke, and they bought some stock, and their stock has been doing wonders. Like, they bought it as a joke. They're like, hold on, let me buy some more. Like, this is for real. Primal studies. 80% of women want the top 20% of men, but they can't get them long term. Exactly. Those dudes are running through women at record rates. They out there blowing backs out, but they won't commit. So, and these are the red pill numbers that when I talk about red pill numbers, this is what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? But you just want to expand the numbers a little bit, maybe, plus or minus 10 or 15% on either side, but you agree with the theory behind
statistics. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, I'll go ahead and say those are RP numbers because those are real numbers, but in this context, they're considered RP numbers, right? The issue is that you hear a lot of these numbers from these black pill guys. And what we have to do is tell the guys in the red pill space, okay, these might be the numbers, but that's not the end of the world.
Right.
We could swap it up. We could change it. There's some hope out here. You know what I mean? But what we're seeing is a growing amount of the doom and gloomers right now. You know what I mean? That's a problem.
Now, here's the thing. It is Brother Jose, $5, man, on the super sticker. Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate that, man. Thank you, man. Good to see you, man. I saw Brother Jose was in, I think it was Black Man Unfiltered, man. Yo, when y'all see me on other platforms, y'all see me out there, man, make sure y'all hit me up because I might not see you. If I'm on a panel, I may not have the chat up. So it's not me being all stupid. Like, make sure, you know what I mean, I see you, man. And if I miss you when you come back over here, tell me because I rock with y'all, man. And Brother Jose, I think, did you know Melanie King is back, bro? I was on there last night. Maybe I saw you over there. No, did I see you on Melanie King? But anyway, Brother Jose, she's back, man. She's back from her hiatus, if I'm saying that properly. So yeah, man, you're gonna see me over there more, man. And definitely I'm gonna end the show talking about Sister Melanie. That's my people, man. She real good people, man. Watching the guys thirst after her on that show, man, is the funniest thing, bro. This just funny. It's just funny. So shout out to you, bro. But like back to these numbers, man. We know what I'm noticing about red pill that is shocking me right now. It's absolutely shocking me. Because I was down in Miami last weekend for Myron and Fresh's 1 million sub party. We're on this mega yacht, got all these women, it's packed full of women. It was the perfect balance. It was 2-to-1. So for every dude in there, and it was trust me, there was more than a fair share of basement dwellers in there. Shout out to y'all. So it was like 2-to-1, beautiful woman for each one of these dudes, right? Yeah. And man, these dudes was not even moving on these women. Like, bro, you should be over here hollering at these chicks, man. Everything's free. The alcohol's free, so you ain't got to buy a drink. The food is free, so you ain't got to offer to buy them something to eat or nothing like that. The VIP was open. They just made the whole boat one giant VIP. Why aren't you like trying to holler at these chicks? They don't know how. But what I noticed about the women, these women are watching Fresh and Fit. These women are watching Red Pill content, and they are changing in real time. You feel me? Like these women, they're not being mean. Like if they shoot a guy down, they're real. Like they come up with good excuses, or they'll just indulge them for a moment and then break away. Whereas before they'd be like, go away. I don't want no scrub and all that kind of stuff. They're not doing that. And a lot of these young women, they're slowing down on this hookup thing. You probably haven't noticed this because, you're a married man. You ain't in the trenches. These women out here, y'all, these young women are slowing down on the hookup culture, right? And they're not filming themselves as much. They have to be consuming this red pill stuff because you got women out there who are just, smashing everything that comes around. And now these women are like being very, selective and asking questions. They were asking Uncle Saint, yo, what should I do? And I'm like, you should not be just smashing dudes with no purpose. It has to be some sort of reason behind it. Like, you shouldn't be doing it. But if you're gonna give a guy your body, you should know about the man. You should have a plan. Like, what are you trying to do? How are you going to keep this man around? You should understand that stuff before you give him your body. And they're listening to me now, man. So all this is coming from the red pill world, because the world is kind of getting out of control.
So here's the thing. I just have to take your word for it, because obviously I'm not in the trenches. I haven't been in the trenches for quite some time. What I do know about women is that what you just said to me isn't anything new, because women have historically always tried to tailor themselves to attract a man, right? When you see women, this is just a generalization, but I've noticed, at least in my experience, that women are just natural, like caregivers, home takers, things like that. Even the jobs and the careers that they pick is still geared more like the medical field. You know what I mean? It's still geared toward, comfort and things like that.
Medical field, education,
right.
Senior care.
It's still about helping others. Whereas guys, we always on the more, technical, the real, it's real STEM, but the actual science, technology, the more introverted stuff.
Women are into people, men are into things. Shout out to Rollo Tomasi. He says that all the time.
And so I want people to give you an example, Dio, of how women will tailor whatever message is being given to them, whether or not you agree with with CRT or anti-CRT. Just look at the example of women around the country that ran up, that was doing all the school boards and things like that. They were doing that primarily because their children or their young boys was hurting, and they felt like, well, okay, this is what's happening, so this is what needs to be changed in school. Whether you agree with what they were doing or not, whether you agree with the message or not, that's just an example of women see a problem and then they try to actually solve it, right? So what happens if we give women the right information? Like DL gives women the right information.
Look what Cody just wrote in the chat. Look
I know, man. Cody coming from my head, man. Jesus Christ.
Taroos being sexist. Hey. How dare he generalize women? Boy, he's trying to get shadow banned again. But continue. I just thought that shit was funny.
Yeah, so it's an example of women will go out there and try to solve problems if they believe men are being loud enough about it. The issue is that, what I don't see paired anymore is women taking action with men leading from the front. It's just a group of women, and the dudes are still in the house or still on the internet talking shit, talking S about these women. But then it's like, well, hold up, bro. You calling yourself a leader? Shouldn't you be leading from the front? Where are you at? You can't, and that's the thing. What I got to tell the red pill guys, you cannot be complaining about what the women are and aren't doing if you're not leading from the front. Because if they're not hearing your voice, like they're hearing DL's voice, they're not gonna. How are they supposed to learn? How are they supposed to know anything different?
That's real talk. That's the phrase I've been using. I started that. My old school Fresh and Fit fam, people who are in the chat right now, they'll tell you. Right, whenever I send super chats, and this started on Fresh and Fit. Whenever I send super chats to those brothers, I always end it with keep leading from the front, because those guys are out there taking it. They're taking rounds. They're taking, like a verbal beating. They're getting beat up by the media. They're getting beat up by strangers. They're getting threatened every day. You know what I mean? So that they're leading from the front, because that's what that means, man. You're out there with the slings and arrows right there. And I said it to Melanie King last night. I said it to Pearly Things. Anyone who's out there in the front these days, especially on this particular issue, bro, the Tates, you know what I mean? Yeah, a lot of that, and I don't want to get back into the conversation, but they were out front. They put themselves out there, and,
yeah, and to not get on the Tates, but to really emphasize your point, and that's not being on the Tates, it's the fact that they're out there. Whether or not I agree, guess what? That's what I told you before, DL. If all I did was complain about Andrew Tate, but didn't even have the balls to show my face and come have this conversation, then what am I really complaining about?
Right.
Then what am I really doing? Don't worry. He
gonna give me crap
tomorrow. He gonna say something slick tomorrow.
But here it is, though. He was like, but at you, he says, I finally agree with you on something. Shout out to brother Doug. Finally agrees with Taroos on something. You know what I mean? Hey, yo, we're gonna drop the link here in a little bit. I did want to ask brother Taroos this: Is RP, is Red Pill anti-woman? Yes or no? And is it pro-man? Yes or no?
It is pro-man and it is not anti-woman. Just because you're pro something doesn't automatically make you anti something else, right? I can be pro-black and not be anti-white. I can be pro-black and pro-American and pro-military and pro-Puerto Rican, everything. Just because I'm pro something doesn't make me anti-whatever. I just believe that the message from the red pill leaders, hey Oka, from the red pill leaders, too many of them are giving the red pill community the wrong message, and it's coming off as anti-woman. Does that answer it?
That's right on point, because my thing is RP, is Red Pill anti-woman? Absolutely not. In fact, it's pro-woman. It's pro-feminine. If you listen to their message, you give me a little pushback on this. All right, let's hear what you have to say on this, bro. I say that RP message is pro-femininity.
From the aspect of trying to help dudes get laid, yeah.
From the aspect of helping people get together. You know, one of the number one tenet in the Red Pill, men and women are better together than they are apart. Shout out to Myron Gaines, Rollo Tomasi, Rich Cooper. They all say it. Men and women are better together than they are apart. So the women who listen to Red Pill, tenets, become more feminine. They try to embrace their femininity. It's not, again, you could be pro-femininity and not be anti-feminist, right? Like you just said.
But this is what I'm saying, because when they start, when some of the Red Pill community starts describing their ideal woman, sounds like the 1940s and 50s. Because guess what?
Like you said, keywords,
right.
some.
Right, but that's also, even though they're the minority, it's still the loudest message getting across, right? See, that's the problem, vocal minority. And so it's like for women, when guys are saying feminine, what we're saying is, hey, we like it that you go to the gym and you want to stay in shape. Please stop walking around like you a dude. Like you got the shoulders and shit like that. You walking around all stiff like RoboCop. Like we don't want super muscular women. Right. That's
Because
what we mean
masculine does not attract masculine.
Right.
So if you practice Red Pill tenets as a female, that is the message you will get, right? I mean,
what do the red pill? But also I'm saying, what do the red pill viewers consider feminine? Because some of them consider feminine, aka trophy wives, the Stepford wives. All you do is cook and clean, and you're a baby factory. That's what they consider feminine.
But again, you're talking about that very vocal, very, very, very vocal minority, the small minority. It's minute. I think these guys understand that women they have their own. But what does Myron and this is Fresh and Fit? Fresh and Fit always says, this is what, and shout out to Myron Gaines. Myron always says, a man must lead the relationship. A man must lead the relationship. So that, and it's not in the sense of Stepford wives and all this other kind of stuff. But a man must lead. His role is to provision, provide, protect, and lead the relationship. Now, his leadership style may be more of stand hands off. I'm gonna let my woman do whatever. I'm whatever. But when it comes down to make a command, if a decision has to be made, the man should make it. Do you? What do you think of that?
Yes, and I will once again give a personal example. Whether people
sounding red pill, you sounding awfully red pill over here, boy.
Because at the end of the day, I can't speak my truth if I don't give people real examples and just be vague. You know what I mean? That's the problem with some of these grifters. They're super vague. My wife considers me the leader of the household. I consider myself the leader of the household. I have made tough decisions like, you know what? Yes, we are going to move to the States. You know what? I'm going to get out. We're going to transition out. You know, I'm going to end my career. We're going to move here. We're going to buy, obviously, the home, at least the starter home's more for the wife and kids. But hey, we're going to move into this neighborhood because this is the school district. I want our kids to make sure they're getting good educated. There are decisions like that obviously meant lead. But there's a difference between being a leader and being a tyrant. Because some of you guys aren't trying to be leaders as husbands or boyfriends. You're trying to be leaders like you're Vladimir Putin, or you're, a jailer. You're the warden. And that's two different things. Like, you hear some guys who talk about women as if the moment she leaves my eyesight, that's it. Right. And so it's like, well, damn, dude, now you're just being a control freak. That's not leadership. And there's a fine line that needs to be defined, that does need to be defined.
All right. And looks like Brother Doug is with you on this as well. Taroos is right about that. All of them describe a woman from the 1950s. I respectfully disagree. Now, you know what? I disrespectfully disagree with both of you motherfuckers. I can get one in. I can get one in, YouTube. I think I get one in. No. I think that's the vocal minority. Again, I think that's when you look again, let's look at Fresh and Fit. I mean, Myron would be the guy who was like more the old school. I am the man. It is my way or the highway. And a lot of that comes from his background in military, coming from a Muslim household, being raised that way, right? And he didn't really come into that until later in life anyway, because he wasn't like that as a kid. Fresh, on the other hand, just yesterday, and Brother Mike, back me up on this. I think you were on that live. Fresh on the live was saying 2023 he might get booed up. Fresh has finally got tired of running through these 304s. Finally, I told him this a year ago, like, bro, you're going to get tired of this, man. You're going to get tired of it. And it sounds like he's getting tired of it. Does Fresh want a robotic woman just to do, cook, clean it? He's not looking for that. I think Fresh is closer to the modern way of doing business. So I do respectfully disagree with Doug. Brother Doug, you know I love you. And Brother Taroos, you know, I disagree with that. I think the majority of guys, I think the majority of men, especially in the red pill world, they really just want a woman that they can come home to. Real talk. They don't want to spin plates. They don't want to have a harem and 4 and 5 wives. They want one woman that loves, honors, and respects them, that they can go work, provide for and work out and lead, right? That's what they want. And they're having a hard time finding it. So go ahead.
The base foundation, I agree. Most men do just, they're like, not the flex. They like me. Like, I'm married, been married 15, April will be 15 years. I got 2 kids. I'm happy, man. Like, I got my own individual issues, but as far as family, household life, I got the fairy tale. And most guys
shout out to Dr. And real quick, shout out to Dr. B, man. He was down there in Miami, man. We was kicking it. That brother, Dr. B, got on the dance floor, man. He came out of there sweating like he was in the sauna, boy. He was getting down. Oh, wait. Was I supposed to say anything? My bad, bro. I don't know if I was supposed to say anything. Did I tell on you? Man, look, we had a blast down there. I'm glad you're here, brother. But continue, my bad.
So, the problem is that the guys today, they need a software update. And I've said this before, because guys, we don't live. The reason why they describe the 1950s and 60s is because guys still grow up with this idea that we have to be, that our sole value is tied to finances. It's tied to economics, right? That's not the world we live in anymore. Remember, in the 1950s, men were the breadwinners because they literally had to. Women weren't allowed to be in the workforce like that. You know what I mean? And so, regardless of whether you agree with that or not, at the end of the day, it's 2023. It's the 21st century. Women can go get these jobs like anybody else. Guess what? You can still have a traditional marriage or a traditional household if your girl wants to work. It's not either or. I just think that a lot of times it's the insecurities that guys are being told, yeah, you're right to have this insecurity, because too many guys think, well, if I'm not in control of like the finances, or if I'm not the breadwinner, then what's my actual value? Bro, that's not what women mean when they say safety and security. I mean, women got the bag. They also want a man they could come home to and be themselves around and not have to wear their public face in private, right? And so once again, it's the same things. It's just like, guys, I just tell guys, like, too many of you guys are just acting upon your insecurities, and you're becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're a victim of your own demise, basically.
We got Suzette Speak in the house. What's good, sis? Welcome. I was telling everybody about you at the top of the show. Hey, y'all, please go over to Suzette Speaks and subscribe. That sister, she put me on. She is, man, like she covers everything, man. From the political, she talks about some red pill stuff. You know what I mean? She talks about everything, women's issues. Please go over there and subscribe to Suzette Speaks. And Brother Doug, he's all on it like DL. Yes, they do. But they all want women from the 1950s. I don't agree with that at all. All right, all right, Brother Doug, and for you, Mr. Beige, Puerto Rican sitting next to me, what percentage of guys in the red pill do you believe want women from the 1950s? They want the Stepford wife. Just making up numbers.
80%.
80%, Doug. What's your number, bro?
You're 80%.
Man, I'm about to drop the link, man. Y'all on some like I'm dropping the link. Brother Hayoka's gonna come with the thunder. We already know it. I don't think that. I would say the number of dudes who would want that 1950s barefoot pregnant in the household woman, I would say, making up numbers, I would say it's less than 20% of dudes in the red pill that want that. The red pill worth.
Dio, I got a question. on this.
And I got an answer.
So here's the scenario. Would you agree, before I get into this, would you agree that if we had our preference, we would pick a Jessica Biel or Gabrielle Union or that type of super fine wife, super fine woman as our ideal wife?
Absolutely. Beauty, right. Youth and beauty comes first. Absolutely.
Right. But even if we don't end up with a supermodel, that doesn't mean we settled, right? Because most of America, or most of humans, is average people dating and married to average looking people, because beauty is still relative. You get what I mean? And so would you say that just because you didn't get with this supermodel what you wanted, does that mean you settled when you got with someone, Dio?
Technically speaking, yes. If your heart was set on, let's make an analogy that men always love to make analogies. Let's talk about cars, right? If my heart is set on getting a McLaren Vanquish, Aston Martin Vanquish, right? I want the Vanquish. But I just don't have the credit. I just don't have the money. I drive out of there with a BMW M8 competition. Did I settle?
No, you didn't.
I did, in fact, settle because I wanted the Vanquish. I did settle. I wanted the Vanquish. I did, in fact, settle. Am I happy with my choice? Yeah, I'm cool.
You want to know why you didn't settle? As somebody who is a real car guy, and if Schweebel's still here, he's going to understand this. That Aston Martin, you're going to love it right until you realize that you can't daily drive that boy. But you could daily drive that M8. You could push that boy everywhere. But that Aston Martin, the moment you hit that one trash federal highway that got that little dip in there and you hear it scrape at the bottom, your whole day is going to be pissed off. It's going to be ruined. But
the point being, but because we're gonna notice, you guys are gonna notice a dip in the number of people watching. Fresh and Fit just went live, so I know a lot of people are gonna jump over there. And these are the shows that y'all should watch on Fresh and Fit, the early shows. So I understand that. So don't trip. Ain't nobody, you know what I mean? We still gonna keep it rocking over here. But to answer your question, if I wanted the Aston Martin and I couldn't get it, but I got the M8. I still settle, even though it's a great vehicle. I still settle because it's not what I wanted, and that was the point I was trying to make. They're still both amazing vehicles, but I still settle.
To keep this analogy, then, even though you're great and you're happy with the M8, does that mean that if you had the opportunity to go get the Aston, you would take it?
No. You want to know why? It goes back to what you said, because, I wouldn't go back because, like you said, you know what's a good thing I didn't get the Aston, because I couldn't drive it every day. Now I could drive this every day, and my maintenance is a lot lower. And you know what I mean? I'm getting more looks in this car than I thought I would. So if you get married to a woman that wasn't the woman you were gunning for, but you get married to the woman who's just as beautiful, right? We're picking between two amazing vehicles, or we're choosing between rubies and emeralds, whatever. I wanted a ruby, but I got an emerald. You know what I mean? It's still a precious stone, and I'm not gonna let my stone go. That's how men look at it, for the most part. Bottom 80 dudes, you know what I mean? And like the way I look at it, I'm not going to exercise options, right? That's just my thing. But no, but to your point, now I think I'll be good.
And so for what we need men to do is not be fixated on the individual object. How about I want to be able to afford this price range of supercar instead of this one specifically?
But
Because
people
now
want, but
when
people,
you
but
build
that's not realistic because people want a particular thing. Like going back to the dudes,
but we
want
teach
a
them that.
baddie. And
we
brother Hayoka, we're gonna bring you in a hot second. We got you right here. We're gonna bring you in a hot second. But you see what I'm saying?
I coming from my head too.
Oh yeah, probably yeah. What kind of dude? What kind of dude that didn't get airborne? That's the kind of dude that get airborne school and settle
by
for
the way,
regular
Primal,
infantry.
I'm an 88 Mike. I was an IED finder. I didn't go infantry either. Okay.
I think I'd rather go infantry, man. You out there looking for IEDs.
Oh yeah.
How did you do that? You had to give y'all a long stick and just tell you to go out there and walk into the field.
Yo,
if it goes boom, you found it.
God, I couldn't believe this. You know what's funny? When we're doing the convoy security in Iraq, the Marines were doing exactly that. Then you see these dumbasses walking on the side of the road doing. I'm like, bro,
they crazy,
you
bro.
got a whole armored truck for this. What are y'all doing? Like,
get in the vehicle. Sister Rouse is in the house. What's good, love? Good to see you. Good to see you. And brother Primal, he's just clowning. Like he's a medic. So let's bring brother Hayoka in here, man. We got the numbers. We got the OG in the house. Brother Hayoka, how you doing, man?
Doing all right. How are you brothers today?
how you doing, bro?
Doing all right. I want to say one thing to Brother Taroos. Brother Taroos, DARPA is actually looking at what's called a P300 wave in relationship to the IEDs. They found out that there were soldiers that would scan the environment and they could pick up IEDs subconsciously. So they're actually trying to replicate that.
Yeah, and you know why? A lot of that they do the Hayoka. They do the trauma studies at the VAs a lot of the times,
Mhm.
and you know, obviously you don't want people conditioned. But what's crazy is that they're actually, and I think maybe you heard about this too. They're actually creating that algorithm where they can like start identifying this digitally as well. Because there's still, in order to identify the IEDs, you still need human eyesight. Like the cameras, the satellites still couldn't do it properly.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we're not gonna talk about military stuff, man. All of us, we've seen enough of it. Brother Cody, like, damn, Hayoka, put up a pic or something. Yeah, brother, brother Hayoka, man, you as smart as you ain't got no picture up, man. You can put up a picture of I don't know, Foghorn Leghorn or something like that. Life of Cash is in the house. What's good, fam? Her Locker, thanks for coming in. So, brother Hayoka, you've been listening to us, man, and we're talking about. Brother Taroos, where should he enter this conversation? Because we're talking about settling, and like we made the car analogy. And here's the thing: like with men to get, you know, if you wanted this, but you wound up getting that, you did in fact settle in my book. But once you got it, you're gonna be appreciative and you're gonna love it. When you're talking about women, whereas on the other side of that, women, if a woman wants this, but she gets this, but the opportunity comes for her to get this up here, if you believe in hypergamy, that's what she's going to do. She's going to monkey branch over to the next best thing because she got with a guy she didn't love, she didn't respect, she didn't admire. Brother Hayoka, what's your take on that?
Well, on the first portion of the question that you asked, there's an African proverb that goes, "The man that loves who he married is better than the man that marries for love," meaning that you know what you got, as opposed to the man who's marrying for love who doesn't know what he's getting. You might not necessarily appreciate it when you initially get into a relationship, but once you get into that relationship, your viewpoint is going to change. And to the second portion of it, that is hypergamy. Hypergamy is a biological function. Women do it, but it's in relationship to the children. Every woman that you see that's alive today is in relationship is the offspring of a woman who made a successful choice in the man that she got with. And so what happens is that's for all children today. So it's about the children. It does relate to the woman, but it is about the children. That's why the security issue. I hope that answers your question.
This is where I disagree, Hayoka, because what happens when you become empty nesters? You still with that woman.
Well, that's because what you're looking at is you're looking at a hypergamy from a singular point of view.
Right, but isn't the end goal, like at least from our three conversation, the end goal is to be in a committed relationship and married, right?
Well, ideally, but here's what I was referring to. you're looking at hypergamy from the perspective of a singular strategy. Just like you change your mind, you've changed your mind over time. Hypergamy changes over time in relationship to the conditions that you find it under.
Right.
So what happens is a woman who's young, who has options, is going to be vastly more different than a woman who's beyond childbearing age. You're not going to be looking at the same thing, and you're not going to be looking at the same way that they deal with the issue. One is long-term provisioning. The other one is for genetics. So when you're young, you're looking at women look at muscles, they look at game and things like that in relationship. Okay. When you get older, you're looking for long-term provisioning from a woman's perspective. She's like, I need to be secure as I get older. I don't, if the one thing women are socialized, as Brother DL pointed out earlier in the show, that they look at relationships, they look at people, and we manipulate the environment as males. So for us, we're not socialized to be in relationships as we get older. Okay, for women, they're much more.
Think so?
No, I don't think so. I think we do. I think we become more so, but initially we're not socialized to do that. This is why what happens is when they took Sharp out of the schools and things like that. If you look at, I told you on another show to look up Cortex Man. One of the things that you find with Cortex Man is that the hands loom large. Now your hands are directly correlated with the mapping of the brain. Now when they took shop and things like that, shop, metalwork, woodworking out of the schools, what they did was they also stunted male growth to some degree in that perspective. So
I agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
I've talked about the infrastructure and a lot of those things. It's just my thing, Heyoka, is that I hear some of these narratives, but then when I go and look in the real world, you know what I see? The moment the kids are empty nesters, the husband goes trades in his wife for a newer model.
And let me jump in here. And this is good. I'm glad you're driving it back, because I love having Brother Heyoka on, because he comes from such that scientific realm, and they're like just the cold numbers and data. But we have to keep it in balance with what we deal with in real life, right? And what you just said, I think that's BS, man. I think the men that we see that trade in their wives for a younger model, I think that we're talking about a very small percentage of dudes, right? And I think those guys tend to be higher earners. Well, yes, I think those guys are I think those guys are in the top 5%, right? I really believe and again, this is just anecdotally, I don't have any data. You know what I mean? But most men, when they get married and but it's in there, women initiate divorces, not men. Right. So when you look at that, divorces are 70% of divorces are initiated by women, which means
higher if educated.
Higher, like up to 90%. So dudes are staying in the relationship.
The flip side to that is us guys are the ones who came up with the phrase, it's cheaper to keep her.
Well, it's cheaper to keep her, and it boils down to them not being able to do it. It's the flip side to Brother Heyoka's argument with the young women. Like they have all this abundance when they're young at their peak. These older guys, if you haven't done the work, no one wants you. The dude isn't still, he's not that far removed. He's still in the bottom 80. Right? If he was, go ahead, Brother Heyoka.
One other thing, just to time in what you're saying, Brother DL, and that's if you're her first choice. And 9 times out of 10, you're not her first choice. Rarely do you find the muscles and the genetics that you want in the same man as a provisioning man or someone who's a provider and protector. You don't find the two. That's why hypergamy is a dualistic strategy.
And it's so difficult for women to find that.
DL, Heyoka, did you guys settle on your first choice?
I've never been married, and
I'm talking about get your first committed relationship.
No, I've never.
Did you settle?
Here's the thing, though. I never had the goal set to begin with. So for me, it wasn't settling. I'm just gunning for dimes. So if all I'm gunning for dimes, I'm going to get a dime. You know what I mean? So for me, it didn't matter which dime I got. So going back to our original narrative, I wanted a Vanquish. So that's all I was looking at. I was looking at all years of Vanquish. I can't afford a new one, but maybe I get to use them, but they were still all Vanquish. You know what I mean? So I never had, this is my ideal woman. I've never had that.
Yeah, look, but see that you just agreed with me. Because I was like, that's what we have to do.
Hush your mouth. I didn't agree with you.
That's what we have to do. We have to get our young men. No, you could get different models of assets. Just get to the price range, and then you can choose. Don't if you're hyper focused on one, you're setting yourself up for a world of hurt when you don't get it.
And
Well,
right
Brother
there,
Taroos,
that's it right there. Most people are hyper. They're stuck on one, and they're setting themselves up, men
One
and
item.
women.
That happened just the other day when the young man who had known the woman for maybe about a week did her in.
Yep.
He deleted
Yeah.
her, and it's because he couldn't see anything beyond that.
And shout out to, I mean, you know me, prayers up for her, for those who do pray.
Yeah.
This young woman was taken out by a man she had just met because this guy really need that. Again, this is why I think the manosphere is important. That guy was stuck on this woman, probably the most beautiful woman he's ever encountered. And one of those, if I can't have you, no one else will. And that's horrible. At least that's how it seems. Prayers for her family, prayers for her soul. Miss Globe Girl.
Yeah.
She has a statement here. I wanted to highlight it right here. She said, has the red pill narrative changed slightly within the past few weeks? Have red pill marching orders changed since the new year? Or is it a realization no real woman in their right mind would agree to this foolishness? Brother Hayoka, take a stab at that, will you?
Wow. Red pill is not something new. And because it's not being new and it's an evolving situation, what happens is some of the tenets would not have changed, not since New Year's. The thing about it is that I would say like this. The reason why you're not going to get a change in red pill is because as long as hypergamy exists and as far as female reproductive strategies exist, there will be men who want to have an understanding of that. It's just like, to give you an example, women fight. Women look at men, and the way they do it is simply this: they throw all the men into the ring, and the winner gets to get married to that woman. Because she wants the best she wants the best genetics, she wants the best provider. If you're a loser, you're in the 80%. So that's not going to change. If 100% of the women are choosing 20% of the men, and that's an ongoing situation, and they're ignoring the 80%, that's red pill. That's not going to change. It's a reproductive strategy. Women, when you look at Shallow Hal, to give an example, Gwyneth Paltrow said the hardest part of the movie was when she was wearing a fat suit. Yeah. Men would ignore her.
In real life.
Yeah.
In real life. This is why when women say, "Oh, he's my male friend," no, he's not your male friend, because if you were 400 pounds, he wouldn't even bother looking at you. So it's always sex related to some degree with men. So red pill is not going to disappear because of that.
And then I'll make a stab at it. Oh, go ahead, and I'll go after you, bro. I'll go after you, Rules.
But that's not what Miss. Can you pull that
Ms.
comment up? Because that's not what Miss Globe Girl has said. She was talking about the narrative itself, and I do believe the narrative has already started changing for a multitude of reasons. Because we talk about this Morgan Stanley, and again, I've quoted it as well. It's a real study. I agree with these statistics. I think the narrative is changing because these statistics have been around, or at least most of them have been around for a minute. But guess what? Men are starting to change because all these statistics and the numbers keep going in decline. So clearly something in the information being put in the red pill isn't working. Because if it was working, no. Like if it was working, male loneliness wouldn't continue to be on the rise.
No, brother, that's not true. The rationale is simply this: is that between the ages of 18 and 28, you find the largest growing number of males who are not being picked by women. Also, most men don't start making money until they're in their 30s. So the thing about it is that that would make sense if you look at it from an economic perspective. Women don't want to get with men who have nothing.
Hayoka, I just don't agree, because you say these things, but then in real life, we see all these women who got pregnant by these ain't-s dudes.
Pregnancy doesn't mean that's not a relationship.
But that's part of the hypergamy and picking, correct?
For among the options that you have available to you, yes.
Right. So they still vet it. The guys still still did it and everything. Like there's certain risks. Like, unfortunately, you guys might not like this, but relationships, trying to date, that's a lottery ticket. There's so many risks that are inherently involved, and there's just certain things about a person you are not going to know until you know, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Brother Taroos,
Because if that was true, there's so many of us guys, including
can I answer a
myself.
question? Can I answer a question in relationship to what you said? When you said that low income women, or a lot of women, are having children by
low income men.
Yes, with low income men. But remember, that's among the choices that they have options too. But on top of that, when you look at older women having children by men, the rationale is simply this, is that there's a limited time frame. When you get to 30, you get chromosomal damage. When you get to 35, you get geriatric pregnancy. When you get to 40, you're looking at well, no, not the wall, but spontaneous abortion. What happens is you may have hit the wall prior to that, maybe around 35 or so. What happens is that the wall is not just the fact that men are ignoring you. Women recognize that they're getting older and that their 35-year-old self cannot compete with their 25-year-old self.
Well, this goes back to.
Well, hold on, and let me jump in for 1 second, just real quick, to answer Miss Glow Girl's question. I say, and you guys, I'm gonna let you guys get back into it. I'm loving this debate back and forth between you two, but I say that the red pill has changed. And it is changing, and I think what the change is young women and women in general are beginning to listen to these messages, and they're beginning to adjust accordingly.
I can agree with that.
That's what I think. But I want you guys to continue with what you guys were saying, because I'm like, if I don't get this in now, I ain't gonna get it in, because I can see y'all going to the end of the show. So it is good content.
See, Heyoka, this is what I was telling DL, because what you just described is literally two extremes. You're talking about women who just entered the adult world, aka the 1%, and then you're going all the way to the other extreme where women, let's be clear what that's called, hit the wall, where they're like, oh, I'm making desperate decisions because if I don't get it now, it's not going to happen. Those are the two extremes when most of life exists within the spectrum.
So here's the thing. Having two friends who actually did what I'm telling you about, I have two female friends who actually did this. Okay, they decided one was 38 and the other one was close to 40 or so. They wanted to have children before their time was up. There's a limited time span that you can do that within. After that, it's a done deal. So the most fertile years are 18 going up.
Right.
Okay, so you're going to be looking at a dualistic strategy. So yeah, you might decide to have children by Pookie and Ray Ray, but remember, Pookie and Ray Ray are among the only options that you have open to you at that time.
So Heyoka, we need to grow those options, and we need to tell guys to also have a dualist strategy, because right now we have a group of men, especially in this country, Heyoka, who are very hyper focused and one track mind. So this is part of the point that I made to someone earlier. There are a lot of black young males who are getting out of the 12th grade who are reading at an 8th grade level. Yeah.
Okay. Consequently, you can tell by there's a statistic. I can't remember exactly what it is, but you can tell by how many children are graduating from the 5th grade as to how many are going to go to prison.
I've seen that stat. You're absolutely correct on that.
Yeah. It's the same way that you can tell when somebody has a bunch of cans that they're poor, as opposed to somebody who has fresh foods at the market. The thing about it is simply this, is that the first teacher of any man is a woman. That's his mother. And so what happens is that if the man is not there, if you decide to have a child without a man there, and you don't choose the correct man, in other words, choosing an educated man who can train your children, okay, and who can help you out, and who you're educated as well, then the children tend to fare out badly. There's no intergenerational wealth, and this is why by 2053, the projection is that the African American community will be bankrupt. It has a community effect. Mm-hmm. So these things, even though we look at them in isolated patches, or a point here and a point there, cumulatively they have an effect. So when we look at red pill, yes, red pill is changing, but it is evolving. in the sense of saying to you like this: it's not a static target. The way men and women are relating to one another has changed. If you look at it back in the day, you could have one income, and a woman would say, "Well, you know something, he can take care of me. He's a good guy. He does this and that." Nowadays, it might take two.
It will take two.
It will take two.
Fortunately, I came up when it only took one.
Like it will take two. So, and Ms. Globe Girl, I want to follow up on that because she had a couple more follow ups, and I wanted to answer her questions before we move on, because I do want to move on to something here, because I think that Brother Taroos is confused on the wall a little bit. I want to talk about the wall. Any ladies in the chat who wants to jump up, please feel free to hit the link. I'm gonna put the link in here one more time. So many times on these platforms, you got these guys talking about what women think and what women are doing. We don't know. You know what I mean? But it'll be nice to have some women, some wise women on here, some wild women, whatever, to give us a perspective to work from. Ms. Globe Girl, based on DL's statements regarding a boat this past weekend, he feels women are changing. He also stated a main RP player recently stated he's booing up this year. Did I hear correctly? You did. Fresh is, here's the thing, like Fresh, I met Fresh a little over 2 years ago. He's now standing. He's stand-up guys. He's a real cool cat. He is a quiet version of what you see on the podcast. Fresh in real life doesn't talk. He doesn't talk that much. You know what I mean? He's very observant. He's a top tier networker. I told Fresh a couple years ago, wasn't even that long ago. I said, look, bro, you're gonna get tired of running through all these women. You know what I mean? I got, not that I'm Mr. Big and nothing like that, but I've been there. Like, you're gonna get tired of meaningless sex. He was like, nah, bro, nah, like, man, it's gonna happen. Fresh is a lot younger than I am. So yes, yesterday on his live, he's like, you know what? He was like, oh, who knows? Maybe I'll be booed up in 2023. For him to make that statement while he's sitting on his balcony in his high rise, looking at the sunset with his dog. He didn't have any women there. If you watched anything on Fresh, he always just surrounded himself with women. He's sitting there alone, a man who's made his mark, made his money, and now he's ready to find himself a good woman. The fact that he said it leads me to believe he has one in mind. So yes, you did hear me right. And a lot of these young women, and again, we're not talking about the masses. YouTube is a very small community, and the red pill is even smaller. But there are a lot of women who are coming over. There are a lot of women out here in the red pill space who are like, yeah, they're listening to Sister Candace, right? They're listening to, Sister Tia Kiki, right? They're listening to Melanie King, right? They're listening. They're starting to reflect and rethink their situations. So I think that, yes, there is beginning a shift, a very small crack. And I think it's going to lead to a different variant of the red pill. When I talk about red pill, I'm talking about being unplugged and seeing things for what it is. I see the code. I don't judge. I don't care. This is what it is right now. I will move accordingly. That's how I look at red pill. And I'm trying to get that message out to these young dudes and some old dudes out there that don't understand this as well. So I do believe that. Go ahead, bro.
I know I've been super charitable with Fresh and Fit, but this is where I'm going to use him as an example of what I try to tell my friends and people who listen to me as a man what not to do.
Oh yeah? Is that what you're gonna do? Is that what you're gonna do?
Hating. What I be telling these guys,
I think what
hold on for 1 second, Hayako. We'll let Taroos go and then we'll let you go.
Sorry.
I be trying to tell these guys, stop trying to time the market. All you do is swear up and down you know how to time the market. Like Fresh talking about, oh, I think I'm gonna get booed up in 2023. No, you're not gonna get booed up on Fresh time. You get booed up on Universal time. You think I got booed up on Taroos time? No, I got booed up on Universal time. You know what I mean? Like for example, and I'll use the financials because some of you guys are really horrible at financial decision making. A lot of you guys are gonna be like, you know what? I got this money stacked up. And I'm just waiting for that time where the market drops and I'll finally get that good price point. Well, you know what Taroos did? Taroos took a little bit of his paycheck every single month and he bought a little bit of shares. Not a whole bunch, 2, 3, 4. And he also had his money saved up. So when that market finally dropped and you drop those 5 bands, guess what? I dropped those 5 bands too. And so I got the same amount of shares you did, except I got more because I didn't wait around. Right? A lot of you guys keep trying to time the market or try to be on your own time instead of just going with the flow. You just got to move with it, man. You think because 2023, watch that. 2023 could end up being the most loneliest year he's ever had.
I'm gonna let Brother Taroos, Brother Hayoka go, and then I'm gonna address that with my own take on it. But go ahead, Brother Hayoka.
When you said initially, well, two things, Brother Taroos. Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Even though you might
Dave, on the stock
sandwich.
market, you better zoom that out. You better look at the stock market. That's cool.
Oh, by the way, check out Google. They got they got $80 billion worth of debt and over $167 billion in what's name beside issue. But anyway, the way it kind of goes is that he may have said 2023, but there comes a time in a man's life where if you accomplish enough, you look around and you want something more. You want an emotional connection. You want intimacy. So I could see him at some point, because he's accomplished so many things and been able to do so many things, coming to a point where he might want that as an option. I'm talking about fresh CEO. So the thing about it is that I would say like this: it would behoove him to vet who he's picking, who he wants in his life.
Absolutely. Let me jump in. No, let me jump in real quick. And this is what I think. I haven't talked to Fresh about it, and I do not know. This is just me trying to understand what he was saying and what he was doing. What I believe he meant, and I could be wrong, but what I believe he meant is he is now opening himself up to that option, whereas before that wasn't even an option. Before, I'm just smashing. And this is something, when I talk to him again, we'll have this conversation. I'll tell him, like, you probably went through 8 or 10 amazing women that would have been perfect for the role that you're looking for now, which goes to Brother Taroos's point, doing it on the universe time versus your own timeline. And I get that. And I'm pretty sure he would acknowledge that, like, yeah, I probably did.
Yeah, and now, that wasn't specific to Fresh, because there's a bunch of guys who have been like, oh, okay, I'm ready now. Okay, I'm ready to open myself up.
But we say women
as an example.
Right, but women do the same thing. I didn't live my best life. I didn't have my 3 or 4 phase, and now I'm ready to get married. Say again?
That's what I'm saying, like, because I like to try to speak to, I have a hard time telling women what to do because there's so many mistakes my fellow guys are making, right? And one of the things is, like, when you're doing that, when you're finally ready, think about all your economic material responsibilities you have now. Now you have to, now you're not even vetting the woman based on actually if you love her, if you're compatible. You're basing it off of whether she fits into your timeline, into your life, right? Because people don't realize when you're chasing the bag, and women got to understand this too. When you're chasing the bag, y'all know what that comes with, right? Right. This is what I tell guys all the time. You cannot talk about the importance of fatherhood and then at the same time go out here banging 60, 80-hour work weeks, because all you are is a single parent or single dad who sees your kids on the weekends anyway. Then the only thing that the marriage was just a certificate. You're not an actual dad.
Now we've slipped into another realm, right? Because here's the thing. The way I see it, if you're a guy who's actually studied like the RP tennis, the manosphere tennis, like you really look at it, like you're looking at the matrix unplugged, you're an agent. When you are ready to settle down, your vetting process should be there, right? You should have your core group of individuals that you trust are there to help with that vetting process. Like your money's right? You're continuing to make money. Like you've built the castle. Now you're just looking to bring someone into your world. And if you truly understand all these things, I think that just gives you a better chance of being successful. That's probably going to include prenups. That's probably going to include all kind of stuff. So I think that it comes to the red pill in general. I'm just talking about the red pill in general. Yeah. If done right, will prepare you for that next step. But now we're actually talking about, something a little bit different, right? I mean, it's a good conversation, but it's a little bit different.
Build the castle. What happens if you build the castle solo dolo? You actually find a woman that you're really like into, and she goes, hey, this castle's trash. I don't want any part of this.
Oh, then that's not the one.
See what?
That's not the one.
But
That's not the one.
if you didn't wait until you thought you were ready, you could have built that together.
But continue that thought on. Are you saying then that you won't be able to find the one? Like, come on now, you're the guy with the castle.
Yeah,
I get what you're coming from.
Right. I'm using myself as an example of saying this idea that you need to be a finished product before you jump into anything is wrecking you guys right now.
But brother Taroos,
It's wrecking you guys.
when women get with you, they see your potential. They see your future.
Right, but that's the potential. Potential. That's like IQ scores. IQ scores. It does not tell you you are going to be successful. It says you have a higher potential to be successful. You still got to put in the work.
I agree, but if you see somebody who's got that potential and they're putting in the work in order to do it, you know, the thing about it is that you can, if you're putting in the potential, if you have the potential and you're putting in the work, then what's going to happen is that she's going to see that anyway, and she's going to see that down the pipe. What's going to happen is that you're going to be successful. If you keep pushing, you're going to be successful. Maybe not to the same degree as others are successful, but you will be successful. So the thing about it is that it still comes back to, as I pointed out to you earlier, that women want you at the finish line, ideally. But if they can't get somebody at the finish line, then you take the best. You take the best thing going, which would be somebody.
You need to understand. You not understand. You guys need to explain to me so I can understand, because I really think I do not have the same definition of what success means as you do, from a man or a woman's perspective.
Success is not a static target. The thing about it is,
what defines that? Since we are having.
Let me throw this in there. I would say success for a man who's looking to have a relationship with a woman. I would say successful for a man is when he finds a woman that loves, honors, and respects him. A woman that sees him as the best man that she can possibly get, right? And he's getting a woman that adds value, that is committed to him and is okay with him leading, right? If those two people find each other, I would say that's a top tier couple. Go ahead, bro, and go ahead.
She trusts his decisions. She knows that he's an upright guy as far as when he says, "This is my word," she knows she can trust that.
And he knows he can trust her. He knows he can trust her.
How you guys define it. You see, because I agree with you. That's not how the red pill community as a whole defines what successful man is. Because right there, what you just talked about is exactly what I be saying all the time.
But all those elements came from red pill people. Some of that came from Fresh and Fit, right? Some of that came from Rollo Tomasi. Some of that came, and that little thing I just said there. Some of that came from Rich Cooper. That came from that's bits. Again, I'm taking the meat and spitting away the bones. I'm sewing it together from people within the red pill. Remember, it's not static. The way DL Saint looks at the red pill is not the same way Myron Gaines looks at the red pill. It's not identical. You know what I mean? The way I look at the red pill is not the same way JT looks at the red pill. It's not identical, but it's of the same core.
You're looking at it as a big block, and it's not.
Well, the problem is that the block is being however large or small the block is being represented right now by a very loud group of people. Like that's herd mentality, whether you want in any aspect of life that we have to deal with.
But I'll ask you, Brother Taroos, has it always been so?
Yes.
No, it hasn't. Andrew Tate was
herd mentality.
Yes. No, not that.
I'm saying when you had Kevin Samuels, you didn't have Andrew Tate. I'm saying to you that these are different men looking at the same thing. They don't necessarily gel as far as what they as the way they go about things. So too as it is for everything else. It's not a monolith. You can't look at it and say, well, when you say the manosphere, to give an example, you got black pill, you got purple pill, you got white pill, you got red pill, you got MGTOW. It's all under one umbrella. But if you take it and say, well, the manosphere is all just one thing, then what happens is you come to a very different conclusion than if you understand that there are subgroups within that group.
Right, but based on that same logic, doesn't that make sense why I disagree with you guys and women tend to disagree with you guys because that's not how they view it?
Aspects
But
of
I think, but I think that comes more from a place of ignorance because you're at least delving into it to see it, and you're like, man, I agree with more than I disagree with these guys. You know what I mean? And again, because you're saying, well, we have to change it. Well, what do you think DL saying I really want to know podcast is? That
Yeah,
is
that's why I
one of the
support you like
first.
crazy, yeah.
That's one of the first attempts to make the change, right? And like, that's why Brother Hayoka is here, someone who can speak from, like the OG points, right? That's what we're doing. We're offering up yet another lane within the red pill space, the manosphere space. And there's going to be guys out there like, oh, I could rock with what DL's talking about, what Taroos and Hayoka is talking about. That makes sense. Let me come up on the panel, hint, hint, ladies. Let me come up on the panel and ask some questions and make some statements. And that
this
will
is
begin
the
to
thing,
change.
DL. Like, again, we're authentic, or if you're going to be in this space, this isn't for acting. This isn't like just not so, in order to keep this space what it's supposed to be for. We as men in the manosphere also need to show leadership and call out the trash when it comes through. Because what does that say about the community if you keep defending the grifters?
I don't agree with you there. And it's okay. Let me put it this way. If I see a guy or a woman that I think is absolutely a grifter, I'm gonna stay away from them. I'm not gonna call them out. I'm not gonna come on my platform and start beef. You know what I mean? There are platforms out there that I don't agree with right now. Blue pill people and all those other liberals, conservatives. There are tons of them out there I don't agree with. I don't want to get lost in the smoke and mirrors of the people want to see some YouTube beef and fight and all this kind of stuff. No, because that takes away from the message. Now, in real life, if I come across one of these people, I'll tell them. I'll tell them to their face,
Right,
man.
but
I'll tell them.
that's what I meant. Like, not the we disagree. I'm talking about the real harm being done. Like these guys who are literally got bad intentions and are creating bad results.
Brother Taroos, you can only in the Tao Te Ching they tell you like this: you have to think globally, but you can only act locally.
Locally, yeah.
Yeah, you can only do what you're capable of doing.
For sure, but
Hey, hold on, brother Jose. Don't forget the beige pill, bro. That's funny.
what?
It'll be like this one.
That's that. Hold on, man. Don't forget the beige pill. I got to give you a laugh
Hey,
on that.
Jose, I'm gonna make a techno beat called Beige Pill just for us, bro. Oh, it's gonna be a banger.
That's hilarious. But continue. I had to throw that in. That's crazy. And Wonderful 34 is in the house, man. I see you, bro. I see you. Welcome.
I would say to you that because it's not a monolith and because there are subsections, you can only act within your sphere of control. You remember the serenity prayer. The boundary is to accept the things that are beyond my control. That's the boundary. And so what happens is that what is in your control you can do something about. What is outside of your control is like trying to stop the sun from shining. You can't pick and you got to pick and choose. You can't fight every battle, because what will happen is that you will deplete yourself. And once you deplete yourself,
the conversation pops up.
If the conversation pops up, then you might want to deal with it when it pops up.
You got to stand on that. That's the individual thing. You got to stand on that. Now it becomes the individual thing, and where you are more. Where are your morals, and where's your loyalty lie? I think that's the individual thing.
Because, like I said, I don't agree with the Fresh and Fit. I don't have a problem with them. I'm not gonna hop on a panel or go argue with them, because even though I disagree with some of their message, I don't. Even though their red pills is kind of weird, I don't view them as doing anything harmful and creating bad results. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of people on YouTube I don't agree with. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not gonna go start a war with everyone.
Well,
but when you have that's like the same thing. And I don't want to get political, but just to use the analogy, think about how many people was talking trash about the conservatives who defended Trump.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, wait, you're saying you're not part of them, but then when push comes to shove and when the money's on the line, you vote for him.
Or
Right,
you can look at Liz Cheney.
You could
She
look at
lost her
Liz-
seat. She lost her seat standing up for what she felt was right. She stood up against the guy, Donald
even
Trump.
though she voted side by side with this dude on every single issue,
96% of the time.
just because she disagreed with the one thing he did wrong, they had to exile her.
But well, yeah, I mean, she's in the fight. But the one thing he did wrong was, you know what I mean, he was messing with the Constitution. So again, if it got to a point where she had to stand her ground, and that's where I am. If I get to a point, again, let's use Andrew Tate as an example, and then we're gonna move on because I want to wrap this up. But I also, before we go, I want to talk about the wall because I don't think you truly understand. I don't think you understand the wall yet. Because I think you're tying it. Yeah, you're tying it to something that's not necessarily the case. But let's say that Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate are guilty of these horrible things that people are accusing them of, which I do not think they are. Let's say that they went to court, beat the case, came out of court, and was like, yup, we did it all. And if you want to see the nasty things we was doing to these women against their will, it's $19.99 on, youpayus.com, and we'll show you the live footage. I would stand up against that. I would go look for them boys. Because I'm like, yo, I was backing your ass. And it turns out you really this. You know what I mean? Now I gotta go see them men.
You got
You know
to
what I mean?
And I appreciate that. And I want to tell you and Hayoka that if they are found innocent, I'm going to tell Andrew Tate and his brother, go on that Kyle Rittenhouse parade. Go on every platform, get the free drinks, all that, rub it in my wrong ass face.
Yeah, you're gonna have to buy him a bottle of vodka and I'm gonna give it to
There's
him. I'm
that.
like, this
You know
this
what I
is from this beige motherfucker in Ohio who liked the Browns.
now remember, he stood until he agreed with them. But anyway,
Like, yeah, he still don't fuck with y'all, but he was like, hey, at least you didn't do that. So yeah, here you go. I'll make sure they get that bottle. But to your point, I think that's what you were looking for. No, at the end of the day, I too have my boundaries, right? And I too have the things that I fight for. And that'd be one of those things, bro. That'd be one of those things. So I want to get to the wall. And Brother Heigl, did you have one more thing you wanted to do on that before we move on? Touch on?
yeah, in relationship to as you're pointing out, you're thinking globally in the sense of saying that you're looking at the red pill community and whether it's changing or not, the dynamics that are going on with it. But you can only really act locally, because if you go beyond, it's kind of like overstepping, losing your balance. If you lose your balance by going too far, then what happens is you're no good for anybody, not even yourself.
For sure, but acting locally didn't stop Andrew Tate from becoming global. Why should I
Well, you have
stop
to
anyone
remember
else?
something. He's worth over $300 million.
He wasn't always worth it. That's what I'm saying. Like,
No, he
it was
came in
still the
double
process.
digits. Yeah, he came
There's
in double
still the
digits.
process.
But let me just throw this in there because I know I'm trying to get off the topic. But is it his fault he got pushed like that? Is it his fault? I mean, he saw the opportunity and got himself pushed.
Let's just say divine intervention is real, fate is real, and all of those different things. You cannot say no one can still claim that Andrew Tate skipped the process, because even in him getting in that dicey situation, and I'm tired of trying to give these guys backing or whatever, but he still did something to get himself out of the situation. Right? You still had to go through some sort of process to get from A to B. You get what I mean? And so it's like you see these guys, and a lot of times, again, I really don't like Andrew Tate, but I'm here because of the young men who are way too impressionable and vulnerable today who look up to the Andrew Tates. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want them repeating his process. Just because that was his destiny, that ended up being his destiny, doesn't mean we can't change everyone else's deal, or we can't try to.
I'm with you on that. Sister Roslyn, love the discussion between Sister Candace and Life of Cash. Me too. It's an amazing discussion going on right now in the chat between those two. And and brother, Life of Cash, if you get Sister Candace and her husband to come to Tampa, not only will it be a fish fry, but I'm taking them to my favorite steakhouse. You know what I mean? If y'all come to Tampa, I got you. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Treat you like the king and queen that y'all are, because y'all earned it. And I want to move on. You're right. I don't want to dwell way, on Tate. But I think we've made our points clear where we stand on this. I think we've done that. I want to talk about the wall for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll wrap this up. We'll go into final thoughts. So, Brother Taroos, the wall is not purely biological, like, you know, and I'm gonna let Brother Hayoka give us his definition of what the wall means, but it's not just the ability to have babies and all that kind of stuff. It encompasses a whole lot of stuff, and I think Brother Hayoka could do a better job than I can. So take it away, bro. What is the wall, Brother Hayoka?
If I may, let me get an understanding of what Brother Taroos thinks it is first. Would that be all right?
Fair enough. Absolutely.
What is your concept of the wall, Brother Taroos?
Hayoka, my concept, and I want to be very clear, it's fluid because I don't really know it, but my idea of the wall has always been when women are coming up on the biological clock where they feel like they're in a situation where anybody will do because they're looking to finally have a child. That's what I think the wall is. It's the single women who haven't gotten at least some sort of the family aspect just yet. And they're coming up to the point where they're not going to be able to do it unless they adopt.
Okay. My rationale for asking you is simply this, is that what you consider the wall is a biological and psychological situation. It reaches a point where there comes a time when a woman gets an epiphany phase. If you look in Rollo's books, especially the second one, Preventive Medicine, one of the things you find is that around 27, 28, 29, women realize that they're getting older. The demographic that most men find attractive in nearly every age group of men is between the ages of, let's say, 20 and 24 or so. So after that, what happens is a woman begins to age out. And so as she moves forward in time, what happens is men begin to ignore her more and more. And it's subtle at first, whereas before, when she was younger, she could get into the club easy. If she dropped something, men would rush over to pick it up and take care of it. All of a sudden, all that stuff begins to go away. It's like a child star who's no longer a child.
Right.
All the lights begin to go out. And as the lights begin to go out, what happens is psychologically, what happens is that you're looking at a situation where you used to get all this attention, now it's going away. And you realize that from a personal standpoint, wait a minute, nobody's coming, so I need to make a choice, especially in the epiphany phase. I need to make a choice to get a guy now. Because if I don't, then what happens is, given a couple more years, I won't have that option.
Hey, Yoka, in your opinion, do you think the wall is a end result or a process? Like, is that a timeline thing?
It's a process, but it's not a static situation in the sense of saying to you like this, that you reach this age and you're at the wall.
Okay, see, that's what I had in my head, like yes. Oh, this is the limiter.
Nah. Okay. And we tried to have this conversation before, but we couldn't get it in because it was so many of us in the process. And let me give you an example. Thursday night, I got to Miami Thursday night. I was going to fly initially, and then I wound up driving because I had a bunch of stuff going on. I'm not going to bore you guys with the details, but I drove down. I got in Thursday night. I go to this bar in Brickell, nice restaurant, right? And this beautiful woman, Puerto Rican, 40, absolutely stunning. Looks like a model slant movie star. She's actually a published author. She does a whole bunch of other stuff. She's like in the YouTube. She's like in, like in different spaces, right? And she came over and started, started up a conversation. Obviously, she was interested, whatever. So we're talking. And a lot of people would look at her and like, well, she hasn't hit the wall. It's like, well, she's getting closer, but no, because she's still extremely beautiful. There were dudes chasing her. She was getting all this attention from these guys that were around her, and she's trying to talk to me, but she had to fight through all these other guys who were trying to get her attention. But in 5 years, right, in 10 years, that's going to slow down. So she might not hit the wall until she's 50. I might not hit the wall until I'm 56. You know what I mean? But the wall comes for us all, right? Because Ms. Globe Girl was saying, they say it only comes for women. Like, no, it comes for us all. And then I guess Cody is King had some thoughts on that, and that's another chat that's going on, subtopic. But like Brother Hayoka said, the wall is it's not like a static number. Okay, you hit 42, you're done. That it doesn't work that way.
See, y'all once again, in a good way, blow my mind, because now that I know it's not a static thing, Like it makes a lot more sense, the conversations around the wall. Whether or not I agree completely, I at least understand now the conversations around it. I really appreciate that, guys.
Do you remember last year, Brother Taroos, the woman who was Miss America? She jumped out of a high rise.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful woman. I forget her
Beautiful
name, but
woman.
yes.
Yeah. Did you know that she had wrote a treatise on becoming 30? And when she
What?
became 30, yes, she had wrote a treatise on becoming 30. She wrote something up on becoming 30. And she knew she was coming to that time. And she knew, here's the thing, beauty has a shelf life. And my mother used to always say, little old women have to watch it, because if they wind up looking like little old men, a little old man doesn't want another little old man. Beauty is a calling card for a woman. Beauty is sexuality. And so what happens is that a woman has to take that value that she has when she's born and translate that into a lasting relationship that will take care of her the rest of her life. And she has a limited time within which to do it. Because even Brother DL will tell you, even as beautiful as the woman that he saw the other day, the 40-year-old, she couldn't compete with her 25-year-old self.
She sure couldn't.
Facts. And so, like, to relate this to the Morgan Stanley study, that is when we're saying 35 or 45% of women will be single and lonely, that's technically the wall, what we're talking about. Like, whatever age that happens, whatever age that happens, once that specific percentage hits.
Well, you notice one thing about that study is that they did not include the demographic between 20 and 24, in which men find most women attractive. They went 25 and above. They left that out because that's the most attractive form, between 20 and 24.
Well, I think that's also Morgan Stanley specifically did that because that's where most of their college educated population starts out the gate.
Yeah, but on top of that, what happens is they wanted to know where their investors should put their money.
Oh yeah, for
that's
sure.
Why they're calling it the she economy.
The pink tax. Yeah. No.
Yeah. The other part of this is that the wall doesn't start at 25. Let's say, okay, when you start getting into the epiphany age, which is like 27, 28, 29, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, somewhere in there. What happens is a woman realizes that her beauty is fading. And as that fades, the attention that the options as to whether she wants a man or not begin to fade. And so what happens is that it puts psychological pressure, but then you also have the biological pressure that's coming down the pike right afterwards. 30 being chromosomal damage, 35 being geriatric pregnancy, 40 spontaneous abortions.
Like you stated earlier. So that's a lot of pressure for people. I mean, we're talking about women, but that's a lot of pressure to deal with. That
is. And DL, when we was trying to have that conversation on BM's panel the other night, thank you, Hayoka, for really bringing the information, because that's what I was more trying to get to, but I was still incorrect, and Hayoka corrected me. I viewed that as the wall as a social construct, as both. It was both biological and psychological. And then now that you've broken it down, it's like, okay, well, the wall's it's not stagnant, and it's a process, and it could start. I mean, Hayoko, would you agree that it could possibly start even earlier for a woman, depending on their circumstances?
Depending upon the circumstances, if let's say it's just like
when did they let's say this. Could a woman start the process of hitting the wall early if she's a single mother in her 20s?
Well, she already has. Only in the sense of saying to you like this, that given the choice between a single woman with no children and a single mother with a child, it lowers the sexual market value that she would have. So it might start early like that. Okay, there's no guarantee on it. Depends on your mileage varies, because the thing about it is like this: women are known for beauty and sexuality. It's just like when for men, if you're under 5'9", if you're under 5'11", it lowers your chances of getting with a woman, especially if you're above 6'5", okay, it affects your chances of getting with women. It drops down on both ends.
Yep.
So there's not just it's then it's you have other factors that can influence that. I was looking at a show and the woman was just cussing and she was just cussing. And it was just so unnerving because she was cussing like a sailor. And she had a nervous breakdown. It was on the but anyway, those things can disrupt your ability to, if you're really ghetto. Men don't want masculine women, not as a whole.
Most men don't want masculine women.
They don't want women. They don't want fat women. Given the choice between a fat woman and you can ask any woman. She says, "Well, I have male friends." Yes, you very well may have. Okay, but if you were 400 pounds, they wouldn't even be looking at you. They wouldn't know you.
Real talk. And
So
that's yeah.
So you might be young. If you were young with a bunch of weight, okay, yeah, you might be ignored.
Gotcha.
And then she loses that weight, becomes beautiful, gets all the attention, and then she does that from, let's say, 26 to 38, and then she doesn't gain weight, but her beauty begins to fade. Boom, right back to the wall. You know what I mean? And trying to have kids and all that. So no, I mean now you get it. I just wanted to make sure you understood that concept. Let's roll right into final thoughts. And I want to thank both of y'all so much for joining, man, for coming, for doing the show, man, for real. I think this is one of the better shows we've done. We keep having bangers, y'all. We keep having bangers.
Awesome
I'm hoping, yeah, and everyone out there, please, feel free to clip this, subscribe, send this to folks, because this conversation needs to get out there. So we'll roll right into final thoughts with Brother Hayoka. Go right ahead, bro.
I think that the future is bright. In the sense that even though you do have grifters out there, at one point we didn't even have the information that we had, like let's say on women getting divorces or single baby mamas or a number of things in relationship to not only the female dynamic but our own dynamic in relationship to it. I saw in the chat earlier that they said a lot of the focus was on women, but if you read the Moynihan report, what happens is that men and women came out of the slavery with matriarchal bent, simply because what happens is fathers would always be moved around, whereas mom was always stable. So I could see the matriarchal bent in our community, but I would say that the future of Red Pill is good. The information, Brother Taroos, that we get, you have to take it as data points. It's points that say, well, listen, this is what's happening. The average marriage lasts 8.2 years. Okay. If you're going to get married, okay, you might want to think about that. The more educated the woman is, the higher the probability of her divorcing you, depending upon the circumstances. So these are individual facts, but taken in a cumulative way, they give you a viewpoint as to what you might be looking at, and that to some degree is Red Pill. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for always being here, rocking with me, man. Hey, man, I ain't lying. We got to get that AI show done. I really want to do that AI show, man. I'm sorry, I just haven't found the slot, but we're gonna do it, bro. So I'll be hitting you up, man. Thanks again. I'm gonna talk to you later, man. Peace.
Peace, brother.
Peace, Hayoka.
Final thoughts, my brother.
Oof, man. Great conversation. And I always say it because it's always the truth, man. I'm always learning something new, certain stuff viable, like important, something productive. And so once again, DL, before I get into my final thoughts, just really appreciate you not only having this platform, period, but inviting guys like me and Hayoka and to have these conversations. So really dope. But then it gets back to the statistics, guys. And this is my final thoughts. Statistics doesn't mean anything without the proper context. We can get stats to say anything. If you're a football fan, you know they went from QB rating to now the QBR thing. People still don't understand what the heck that actually means. There's running backs who get 1,000 yards, but in the NFL, getting 1,000 yards makes you average. You're not even a good running back anymore. You need to provide the proper context behind any stats you're using, because if your stats, if you're creating narratives around stats and it's not lining up in the real world, either A, the statistics are wrong, B, your context is wrong, or C, the whole shebang is messed up. So, guys, know the stats, know the context behind those stats. Those are my final thoughts.
That's what's up, man. That's fire. As always, tell people where they can find you, man.
Hey, man, they can find me right here on What We Know podcast. You can find me on on JT's What We Know podcast. You can find me on BM podcast. You can find me on 5100 podcast, and you can find me getting yelled at by 12-year-olds on Call of Duty and Doug trolling me.
And Doug trolling you. Yeah. And yes, he misspoke, y'all. He meant to say, I really want to know podcast, but he confused me with JT, man, so it's all good.
Because y'all always talking about y'all twins and y'all started at the same time, right? Yeah, it's like, oh, man.
Yeah, so, yeah, you can find it. And then, like, Black Man Unfiltered and all that, man. Like, Taroos be out there making it happen. I love having a brother on because the conversations are always top tier. Thanks again, bro. Let me give you one more clap. Thanks again, bro.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man. Hang out in the back. I'll be done here in a second, man. So, and then we got There's Just Me, man. Listen. I'm going to tell y'all like this, man. First of all, thanks to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for the super chats, y'all, and the super stickers and all the support, man. For real. You have no idea how much it means to get the support from my day ones who are in here, and for the newcomers that are out there checking me out, you know what I mean, Ninja watching and all that, people on Overwatch. I appreciate it. I really do. We're going to keep pushing forward on this. We're going to get this narrative out here. There's nothing wrong with the red pill. There's nothing wrong with the manosphere, in my opinion. We're just going to offer up another variant in this world to help people get on it. There's a lot of men out there that need help, y'all. There are a lot of men. If you don't believe me, go right now. Go and watch Melanie King right now. Go watch it and watch these men coming on there trying to get her to marry them. I mean, it's funny, but it's also sad. You know what I mean? And it's happening to women as well. I want to highlight this. Cody is king. Serious note. Yeah, it's sad watching some women wait till they are old to get in shape, get a bit of attention before the fall, when they could have had it all along. Real talk, man. And it's very sad to see that. And we've all seen it. And I think this red pill message is starting to get in to female spaces. I think the mainstream is talking about it. You know what I mean? I'm with Brother Hayoka. I think the future is bright. I think not only it's not a win for just Team Manosphere, Team Red Pill or whatever. No, it's a win for all of us. People are lonely out here, y'all. People are lonely, right? It's real talk. They're lonely. Women are refusing to settle. They're getting dogs and they're dying alone. You know what I mean? That's what Kevin Samuels always talk about with the danger zone and all that. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. It's all out there, bro. And we can do something about it. We can all do something about it. We're here. You know what I mean? We can help each other. You know what I mean? Paid players are in demand. Stats don't have contacts. Absolutely right about that. Thanks for coming through, bro. We can do something about it. My final thought on all this tonight, y'all. Guys are missing the true RP message. Dudes, don't get caught up in the smoke and mirrors. You know what I mean? Y'all know I'm a Tate guy. Shout out to the Tate brothers, right? You're not going to get a Bugatti. And that shouldn't be your goal. Right? You want to be the best man you can be. That is the RP message. That is the manosphere message. Right? There are a lot of women who do wait at the finish line and they smash the winners. Shout out to Rich Cooper. Right? There are those women. Right? Like Myron Gaines says, all women are gold diggers to some extent. They're just good at hiding at the shovel. You hear all these different things. But at the end of the day, if you make yourself the best man you could be, the best version of yourself, you understand money, game, and frame. You're out there building those traits it takes to be a leader, to be out front, to be making yourself the best, to be making an impact on the universe. Those things, those traits women find attractive. If you go out and you do these things, you become the best version of yourself. You get out the basement, you get into the gym, you get your money right, you go out there. If you do these things, women are a byproduct. You should not be doing these things to get a woman. It's the wrong way to do it, right? So fellas, if you out there and you think nobody's listening, you think nobody cares about you, man, we do care. We are listening. There was a dude that was in Rich Cooper's comments, and I'm gonna find this dude and reach out to him. He made a comment on the clip that I was on with Rich Cooper, and he basically said, I'm a simp, I'm an incel. It's really hard being out here. I'm alone. I know no one cares. I know no one's listening. And I sent that dude a message. I'm like, I'm listening, bro. You know what I mean? If you out there, if you hear me, come through, bro. Come through. Talk to me, man. I can help you through it. You feel like you in the hole. You feel you've been in this hole, right? I'm the type of dude who's going to jump in the hole with you. You sitting there screaming, send a rope, pull me out. Now I'm going to jump in that hole with you. And when I get down in that hole, which you probably going to look at me like, man, why'd you jump in here? Now we both stuck in here. Nah, bro. I've been in this hole before. I know the way out. I'm DL Saint. This is the DL Saint I Really Want to Know podcast. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace. Uh-oh, wrong button. Man, I almost had it perfect, man. I almost had it perfect.
Darn, that's the end.